So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you... So, I've been showing you these trailers, right? For each of them. And, like, the trailer for Black Temple was really good. The trailer for Noxoramus was okay for the time. The trailer for Sunwell was alright, you know. We had a good trailer for Zulaman. And we had that was a decent trailer for Old War. You could tell they were trying. So let's see what they come up with for the Call of the Crusade. Thank you for the sub, Mike Kimono, as always. If you know what you want to put that towards, as always, please let me know. Railway Empire, Daggerfall Unity, and Skyrim. 2 Bethesda games. I'm sensing a trend here, Michael. So anyways, that was a terrible trailer, right? Like, for real. What the hell was that nonsense? Like, they keep doing all of these trailers, and then it's like, and then there's this one, and it's like, that's it? That's all you got? That was lackluster, which is appropriate for the bit of content we're about to do. Yeah, no real voice acting, no cinematic to speak of. It's just, here's the new patch. And I mean, cool, but, like, pointless, right? So anyways, this is the Argent Crusade. This is about exactly as dumb as it actually sounds. So, they've decided... they've decided that... I'm having trouble even explaining it, it's so stupid. Because of the fact that we can't possibly risk having more dead during the fight against Icecrown, only the most elite and valiant of heroes who succeed at this tournament will be given the right to join the final assault against the Citadel, which is right over there. There's the barest bones of a logic there, but please keep in mind the hundreds of dead of Horde and Alliance forces both, and Argent forces, all the way throughout Icecrown. Now we're caring. Now we care. Okay, sure. To me, this has always felt like they had an idea for a tournament and didn't know where to put it, so they put it here. Whatever. Moving on.
How may I help you? Until we meet again.
We invited you here to test your skill in valor against others who have bravely opposed the Scourge. Many have been our divisions, but the time for heroes has come for heroes fighting under all banners to test their blades against one another in preparation for facing our mutual enemy. Arcanist Taeolus is the Silver Covenant's representative of the tournament. He'll enter your name and roll you in training. Okay, sure.
Be well.
That's an interesting question, Mirastar, because in some cases it's very clear we are not killing ourselves, because afterwards they're like, all right, you did it, you win, cool, and they just move on. In other cases, we are absolutely killing each other. And my favorite part is Tyrion actually calls us out for it. There's a part I'm going to point out very soon from now, because we're not doing a lot of quests here. There's hardly any quests here. Where it's going to be like, they're like, we demand to fight each other, and Tyrion's going to say, I'll allow it. Okay, go kill each other. And then we kill each other, and he says, what a tragic and wasteless point of life, and dumb. You're all dumb. Why'd you do that thing that I just let you do? Anyways.
What brings you here?
So,
Till next week.
I've entered your name in the rolls. As an aspirant, you will train with others to compete in the tournament and hone your mounted combat. Once you've proven yourself, you'll be allowed to enter the lowest rank of competition on behalf of your capital city.
Be careful.
Now, these look like daily quests, or non-daily quests. They kind of are, but we're not actually doing any of these. And you're probably thinking, but why? Well, you see, these are actually fake daily quests. Here's how this system works out. So, there's, the Exodar. Over here we've got Darnassus. Over here we've got Stormwind. Then we've got Ironforge. And then we've got Gnomeregan. So you immediately are fired up as whatever your race is. So, for example, we would start off as a champion of Gnomeregan. Gnomeregan, wow. Of Ironforge. So we're a champion of Ironforge. Ooh. And then we'd, do some quests, and that'd be cool. And then we advance our rank, and then that's cool. And then we do some more quests to advance our rank even further, and then we become a champion. It's a daily grind. Now, it's not a terrible daily grind. I've seen worse. And I will give them credit. The doodad design here is actually pretty legit. So I'll give you that one game, plus the story. There's actually a lot of little visual flares and styles and stuff going on here. There's a lot going on here. So much so that it makes you wonder how the hell they got all these resources and supplies and people into Icecrown. Did they think for 5 seconds about where they're... Yeah, no, this shouldn't have been here at all. It's actually kind of a cool idea and a neat thing, and I actually rather like the raid, and I even enjoy the dungeon. But, huh? So, there's just a whole lot of huh here. Also, most of the dailies involve getting on a mount and spouting, jousting. Exactly one of the upcoming fights in the dungeon actually involves doing that. So we never actually do that. That's cool. So anyways, negative, like I mentioned, so let's go up here. I like a lot of the visual design. Here's one of the raid bosses. You can see they've got him really tied down and under guard. Over here we've got the Jormungandr doing their things. It's kind of on a timing, so I can't show it, but periodically, oh, hey, they're here right now. These two will show up and be like, we're here to attack you. And then we enslave them to use them in the tournament. Every now and again, Varian will show up, and then every now and again, Thrall will show up, and they'll be like, hey, we're dumb. It's a weird bit of content, because it makes absolutely no sense with how it's placed and where it's at, but it was weirdly fun and engaging. Unfortunately, we don't review things like daily hubs, but all I'm going to say is that of the various daily grinds this game has had, this is one of the more tolerable ones for me. I should mention that I have the Argent Hippogriff, which I got for grinding every single city up to champion, and I didn't mind doing that. It was kind of fun. So, yeah, I'm with it. I think I've gotten all these mounts. Pretty sure I've gotten all these mounts. Pretty sure. Hey, Mr. Floyd. And hi, Huthor. Okay. So, having kind of shown this off briefly. Yeah, there's not... I mean, we could establish a whole new concept of reviewing dailies. Let's not do that. That's a whole other ball of wax for every MMO we're reviewing. So let's just there we go. Okay. Because there is a variance in quality in dailies, right? Like, imagine the difference, just to name one random example, between the Netherstone dailies. Oh, hey, it's Wilfred Fizzlebang. Of course I was the one chosen to summon a demon for the competition. I am Wilfred Fizzlebang, Master Summoner. Demons quail before the mere thought of being under my will. Yep. He's a really powerful, like, super powerful warlock. We're going to see him during one of the boss fights. Anyways, but, like think about the difference between, say, the Netherwing dailies versus... I don't know, the Firelance, the Molten Front dailies, right? Anyways, we're going to obviously switch characters now. Although I guess we don't need to, do we? Yeah, right. Okay, so let's just walk in. If you want to join for the Crusade, this is a good time to say something. Also, all of the other boss, you know, the one, are also present here. The other boss over here. And over here is where you fight the noobs when you're still trying to figure out the early stuff. I actually got pretty good at all this stuff back in the day. You could actually weave attacks in and out of each other if you were very quick about it. There's Bragwin. Come to me, Bragwin. There should be a stepping stone. Double checking. Double checking. Is it like here, maybe? Oh. Is there not a summoning stone? Really? Huh. Yeah, no, this would have been a perfect thing to place in Kata. All jokes aside. We know why they put it here. It's because they didn't want to have content drought. But, like... I do not see a summoning stone. Huh. Okay. Well, anyways, we're going to be entering the north first. So, just get in position over here. Wait patiently for Bragwin. Very patient. Infinite patience. So, as usual, we're not really going to gauge the gameplay of this stuff, because we can't. Yeah, I know, right, Huthor? It's really strange. They were also experimenting a little bit with boss design, which we'll talk about a little bit as we go. Oh, you know what? That does ring a bell. Hang on. Over here, maybe? There is a quest chain here, by the way, which we're just going to not do because it requires doing some dailies, so forgive me. But all you need to know is that there's this guy named the Black Knight. He's apparently from Westfall. And he's like, oh yeah, here he is, right there. The Black Knight. And he's like, I will absolutely join in your tournament. Oh, here it is. We found it. We found it. Someone help me summon? It's probably going to be too late. Never mind. How did I miss this? Am I just blind? Whatever. Yeah, the quest takes you all over the place. It's a thing. But anyways, whatever. Point being, all we need to know about the Black Knight is he's totally an infiltrator from the Scourge, which I know is really shocking, right? And yes, this is when heroic raids were finally added to the game. Ulduar had the elite mode concept, and was essentially the last raid to have the elite mode concept. That was cool and all. Yeah, they also had this entire area up here, which is all part of the Daily Hub. What? What? Okay, so in case you missed that, why? Yeah, so you apparently cannot do this cross-faction, which means we can't do the raid cross-faction either. Now, I get why they say that, but that's extremely stupid. There is nothing preventing you from just being there and fighting your own faction. That's really, really, really dumb. I'm extremely tempted to give that its own negative. I'm really torn on that, because that's kind of a weird thing, right? Oh my god, you can't do Citadel cross-faction? Why not? Who cares? Who gives a crap? Oh no. We have to fight the Alliance in the past. Yeah, we kill our own faction all the time. Who gives a crap? Like, for real, who cares? You added cross-faction, what was that, last year? So, you know, 13 years after this stuff was canon, after this stuff actually happened. Anybody going back to this is someone going back to it. Oh no, you're probably right, Huthor. You're probably right. So, for those of you not aware, the way WoW does almost every NPC interaction in the game, including with players and with enemies, is with faction flags. Faction flags is how they do an enormous quantity of things. So, for example, Mr. Red here is faction flagged to be Horde, and I'm faction flagged to be Alliance. So that means we can only interact with each other in certain specific ways. If he was flagged Alliance, the game would actually directly, it'd be like, hey, chkunk, and now all of a sudden, he would be speaking something that would come out in English in chat, because the faction flag governs that. Yeah, no, exactly, Huthor. So here's the deal. It determines which version of the dungeon, raid, and dungeon, oh my god, we also can't do the upcoming dungeons in cross-faction. Because all of these upcoming dungeons are a little bit different. Let me explain that better. The version of the dungeon or raid you enter itself is different depending on your faction. Right? So, there probably is legitimately some kind of spaghetti goat somewhere where it doesn't know how to handle seeing players across factions enter at the same time. That's why I got jump capped. That's why it kicked me out. It's because it didn't know how to deal with that. I hope they fix that at some point. I know that's going to be super low priority, but I hope they fix that at some point. You know, the great irony? The fix for that would be to just kind of get rid of the factions and go to a single faction system, which is something I've been asking for literally about 20 years now. Now, hang on. I know what you're going to say. And yes, it would be a lot of work, and I know that. It's not even just as easy as flip all the faction flags. There's a lot of stuff that would have to be gone through, pretty much on a expansion to expansion basis to polish that out and make that work. I still think it should be done. I'm just acknowledging that it would be a large amount of work. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I guess we'll do this one. I'm trying to think if I want to do any of these. Okay. I know what we're gonna do. Let's just go. I know how we're gonna do this. Ideally, there'd probably be someone like an NPC, like right here. You notice how we can click this? You actually need to click this to be able to get the lance, and you need to have the lance equipped to be able to do this mechanic. So, there'd be an NPC. Would you like to see the Alliance version of these events, or the Horde version of these events? Make it a bronze dragon. Boom. Hang on, let me... there it is. Put my lance on. It should be 30. And yeah, forcing... That was an idea that was suggested earlier, too. Force it so that the party is locked into the faction flag of the party leader. I actually can tell you right now that would be the easiest way to do this by far, because the dungeon lock is already attached to party leader, right? That's how that works. If I am already in the middle of a dungeon and you join me, you're kind of dragged into my version of the dungeon, right? So that tech already exists. Ugh.
Can I assist you? Be careful.
No voice acting? Okay, he finally started talking. Welcome, champions. Today, before the eyes of leaders and peers, you will prove yourself worthy combatants. That is a good question, Blade Tabal. And probably something that will be a lot easier to implement than just smushing the factions together. King Varian says, I have no taste for these games, Tyrion. Still, I trust they'll perform admirably. Jaina says, of course they will. Garrosh says, admirably. I will enjoy watching your weak little champions fail, human. Brawl says, Garrosh, enough. I can't wait to make you the leader of my entire faction. You'll be facing 3 of the grand champions of the tournament. These fierce contenders have been beating all the others out to be the pinnacle of skill in the joust. Oh shoot, I'll let my buff fall off. Grand champion of Orgrimmar, Makra the Skull Crusher. No, you're right, Uthor. You're absolutely right. It's hard. This may sound strange. I still give negatives for it, but I tend to be less harsh about things that are spaghetti code. Because it's not like it's a choice at that point, right? Entering the arena, the lean and dangerous Zultore, Grand Champion of Senjin. That didn't happen until after Garrosh was War Chief, Triaxia. Now that's almost at the end of Pandaren. Tall in the saddle of his Kodo is the venerable Runok Wildmane. So, back in the day, this was one of the hardest ones to solo. Can I just say, with tremendous pride, I have soloed this fight back in the day. It takes work, and the way it works out is actually really simple. If you make any mistake whatsoever, you instantly die. And there's no recovery from it. So don't make any mistakes at all. I am not joking. So the way it works is you've got your ranged attack. Your ranged attack gets rid of their shield. So if I do this here, you'll notice the ranged attack just got rid of his shield. And I can do this. And we'll run away with the sprint buff. Make sure you're always running away with the sprint buff, like that, and then he's dead. Boom. Never stay still in this mode. And you always want to be doing this kind of strafing thing so you can attack people as you're running from them. I got really good at this, by the way. You may or may not even see it there, but what I'm doing is I am capable of hitting them while I'm charging them, which technically doubles the damage I'm doing, because the hits come at the same time while the shields are down. So if you watch just for a second, notice how his health just went away there? That right there. I really liked the jousting. And you'll notice This is almost... Is it? Can it be? Is this actual gameplay? So this is a fun thing, too. When you knock someone... Okay, it's not. They're taking too much damage. They're taking too much damage. It doesn't count. Nah. So close. So close. Oh, I was excited for just a second there. Make sure to put on your roll weapon. Anyways, once you knock them off their mounts, they then fall on the ground and like, And then if you run over them, they get stun locked. You have to keep running over them to keep them stun locked. God damn you, Luthor. I always knew you were secretly evil. Anyways, so the point is, you knock over them. You know, that's okay, fair, Luthor. Anybody want the Edge of Ruin? I have that a dozen times over. We're this close to real... Just... Close. So, we got Confessor Paletress. So there's actually two bosses here. Eadric the Pure and Confessor Paletress.
Thank you, good Herald. Your words are too kind. May the light give me strength to provide.
I'm gonna body pull her, so she can at least do her mechanic. Okay, never mind. She's dead.
This time to consider your past.
Hogger! Oh no, it's Hogger! What do we do?
Next darkest memory fades when
Anyways, yeah, these guys, you know, they're laying there and they're clearly dead. She's alive. The champions we fought earlier, they're alive. These guys are dead. I'm only pointing that out because they clearly have the ability to make it so the NPCs don't die at the end of a fight, right?
How may I help? Till next we meet.
So, we've won! We did it! Well done. You've proven yourself today. What's that? Up near the rafters. If it makes you feel any better, Esmir Star, it's not the last people we'll kill in this tournament! And I do mean kill. We definitely kill the next group of people we kill.
You spoiled my grand entrance, rat.
What is the meaning of this?
Did you honestly think an agent of the Lich King would be bested on the field of your pathetic little tournament?
The last time we fought him, he had flesh. Now he's kind of undead.
5,
Come to
4,
finish my
3,
task.
2, 1.
This farce ends.
So his first phase is him being undead. Then he gets up again.
My rotting flesh was just getting in the way.
This time he's a skeleton. Army of the Dead. These guys suck, but also when he does his phase transition, they all explode, which will kill you. Then he gets up again as a specter.
No need for bones to best you.
And then he's dead.
No.
We did it! Woo! You have triumphed through trials of both planned and unexpected. What I always love about this is from like a lore perspective, we go in, we fight the other champions, because lore-wise this only happens after we've already climbed up to the rank of being a champion. I actually like that boss a lot, by the way. I wish I could give it gameplay positives, because I guarantee you I would. Anyways, I'd also give the jousting positives. So, we do that fight. And it's like, alright, fight the other jousting champions, and then fight, like, the representative of the Argent Crusade, which is either Eadric or the Confessor. And then that's it. You're ready for the actual tournament. And then the Black Knight interrupts. But now, hang on, wait. Let's see if we can convince this. So we're going to set it to heroic first, then we're going to set it to 25. And let's see if that actually works. I saw a skull, so that's a good sign. Hey! Heroic 25. Holy shkamoli. Alright. That was good. Alright. Makes sense. This is one of the first ones with heroic mode. Anyways. My mains, because I had two, were a warrior tank and a druid healer. And I had separate raid groups for each in Noxramas, Ulduar, here, and then Ice Crown. And then Haleon. We'll talk about that in a minute.
How are you?
So, let's do it. So yes, this is the trial of the Grand Crusader.
Champions, you have heard the call of the Argent Crusade, and you have boldly answered. It is here, in the Crusaders' Colosseum, that you will face your greatest challenges. Those of you who survive the rigors of the Colosseum will join the Argent Crusade on its march to Ice Crown Citadel. Hailing from the deepest, darkest caverns of the Storm Peaks, Gormak the Impaler. Battle on, heroes!
So the first boss is the Beasts. There are 3 of them, and you fight them consecutively.
For my champions, Tyrion.
Also, if you're Alliance, Tyrion talks. Or Varian talks, excuse me. And if you're Horde, Garrosh talks.
Steel yourselves, heroes, for the Twin Terrors, Acid Maw and Dreadscale.
Oh, I see Dreadscale.
Enter the arena.
Where's Acid Maw? So this is actually a fun one. Dreadscale moves. He needs to be tanked. Acid Maw doesn't. He's a turret. I like all these fights, by the way. These are great fights.
The air itself freezes with the introduction of our next combatant. Ice Howl! Kill or be killed, champions!
The Yeti's was the fun one, because he's technically the easiest of the 3, but again,
Menagerie has been
you
vanquished.
fight him after fighting the other ones. So he's kind of mean by sheer virtue of the fact that you're low on resources by the time you reach him. Honestly, the first one is probably the first one I've ever seen that was truly hard.
Good day to you.
So, next challenge.
Grand Warlock Wilfred Fizzlebang will summon forth your next challenge. Stand by for his entry.
Plus to story. I'm just going to say that. I don't even care. I don't even care. Plus to story.
Thank you, High Lord. Now, challengers, I will begin the ritual of summoning. When I am done, a fearsome Doomguard will appear. Prepare for oblivion! Aha! I have done it! Behold the absolute power of Wilfred Fizzlebang, Master Summoner! You are bound to me, demon.
Trifling gnome! Your arrogance will be your undoing!
But I'm in charge if you...
Quickly, heroes! Destroy the Demon Lord before it can open a portal to its twisted demonic realm.
You face Jaraxxus,
4,
Eladar Lord of the Burning
2,
Legion!
1.
I don't think it's going to get you, Spartan. So yeah, maybe no. I know this kind of is. I know this is kind of a trend and a tendency that we've been seeing in a lot of games lately.
Sister, your master called!
But maybe we shouldn't be summoning demons in the middle of Ice Crown. Random thought, you know. This fight was actually pretty rough. I liked it though. Come here. All right, we can't do that. Just gonna let those keep. I don't think they got it. I'm just gonna...
Another will take my place. Your world is doomed.
The loss of Wilfred Fizzlebang, while unfortunate, should be a lesson to those of you who dare to dabble in dark magic.
You invited him here.
You are victorious, and now must face the next challenge.
You.
Treacherous Alliance dogs! You summon a demon lord against warriors of the Horde? Your deaths will be swift.
The Alliance doesn't need the help of a demon lord to deal with Horde filth. Come, pig.
Everyone, calm down. Compose yourselves. There is no conspiracy at play here. The Warlock acted on his own volition, outside of influences from the Alliance. The tournament must go on.
So, I want to argue for a negative for this moment.
Hello.
The next battle will be against the Argent Crusade's most powerful knights. Only by defeating them will you be deemed worthy.
The Horde demands justice. We challenge the Alliance. Allow us to battle in place of your Knights, Paladin. We will show these dogs what it means to insult the
Very
Horde.
well. I will allow it. Fight with honor.
You heard him. Tyrion will allow it.
Show them no mercy, Horde champions. Loktar Ogar!
So, first of all, can I just say what really bothers me about this is a really, really cool fight. This... Okay. Okay, don't kill... Don't... No, okay.
A shallow and tragic victory. We are weaker as a whole from the losses suffered today. Who but the Lich King could benefit from such foolishness?
You let this happen!
Warriors have lost their lives, and for what? The true threat looms ahead. The Lich King awaits us all in death.
Anyways, so you remember we talked about the concept of arena battles. That was, I could be wrong about this because maybe there's a more recent one, but to my knowledge, that's the best arena battle in the entire game. Those NPCs were like smarter than usual when it came to how they operated, and each of them did have abilities based off of real players' abilities, and they all counterbalanced each other wonderfully well. There were also a lot of different strategies for how to deal with them based on your party makeup. Who you kill, in what order, and why, and who you CC, and all that kind of stuff. Also, they were all fairly weak to CC, which is unusual for raid bosses. It was a great gameplay battle. And obviously, you always want to go for the healers first, but they made sure that the healers, not only are there multiple of them, but they usually have the ability to just kind of sit there. And yeah, no, I see it too. It's because of that right there. They sit there and just heal through whatever you're doing to them. It's a great fight. Negative to story. All right, moving on.
Hey there.
Only by working together will you overcome the final challenge. From the depths of Icecrown come two of the Scourge's most powerful lieutenants. Fearsome Valkyr, winged harbingers of the Lich King.
It's negative number 40, Luke. So this is a great fight. I actually really like this fight. You're either holy or you're shadow, and you have to switch regularly depending on who you're dealing with.
You will die.
One of them does shadowy attacks, and also these wonderful orbs. So if you get an orb of the wrong type, I guess. I can't remember if we want the same or the different. It's actually been a while. I think we want same. We run around picking up orbs of, I think, the same. And it's just a fun little fight. It's all about, you know, playing Hawker while fighting the guys and switching your thing. And it was cool. I liked it. Moving on. None of it matters. They're all dead.
The Scourge cannot be stopped.
Not even the Lich King's most powerful minions could stand against the Alliance. All hail our victors!
Uh-huh. I guess that's it. That's the crusade. As usual, these crusades, these Colosseums, they're just kind of wet flops, aren't they? Hey, have you noticed it getting a bit cold all of a
A
sudden?
mighty blow has been dealt to the Lich King. You have proven yourselves as able-bodied champions of the Argent Crusade. Together, we will strike against Icecrown Citadel and destroy what remains of the Scourge. There is no challenge that we cannot face united.
You can tell because we just killed a bunch of the other guys' sides.
We'll have your challenge, Fordring.
Arthas, you are hopelessly outnumbered. Lay down Frostmourne and I will grant you a just death.
The Nerubians built an empire beneath the frozen wastes of Northrend. An empire that you so foolishly built your structures upon. My empire. The souls of your fallen champions will be mine. Fordring.
So remember how I mentioned that the Lich King has multiple different audio mixtures depending on where it is in the game? That's 3 we've heard just in this stream alone, just in today.
Our guests have arrived, just as the Master promised.
This is a fascinating fight. Hang on a sec. So he spawns these frozen orbs. You have to destroy them and they drop to wherever they died, leaving a patch of ice. We need to make sure that those are being dropped so that when he goes underground and starts chasing after you, you can run him into the ice and break his stance. Otherwise, he just keeps going faster and faster and faster, and eventually will find you and kill your ass. That's fun. So that's ranged. Be paying attention, is what that really boils down to. He's also got ads, all kinds of ads. They all do kinds of fun stuff. We'll just ignore them for the moment. But my favorite part about this fight was, if you remember, I mentioned I was healing this as a druid. Blizzard were experimenting with different ways to make healing more challenging back in Wrath. We'll see that again in Citadel not too long from now. So one of the things they did was they tried to make it so that they wouldn't actually encourage overhealing. Overhealing was its own problem and has been its own problem throughout the course of WoW history, because in a lot of cases, in a lot of fights, the healers are encouraged to just be streaming so much nonstop healing into the tank that a lot of that just gets bled off and does nothing. That's overhealing. Here, in his final phase, in his final thing, he does this attack where he starts draining health from everyone in the raid. In other words, if your healer is healing too much, your healer will out-heal the damage your raid is doing. So the healer had to be healing everyone, because if they don't, everyone will die. Everyone is taking damage. But if you over-heal, then you'll out-heal the damage you can do. But if you under-heal, you die. It was a great balancing point. It was one of the great parts of this. So this would be another definite plus to gameplay kind of a moment. Of course, we're just going to kill him, so here we go.
Place will serve as your tomb. The swarm shall overtake you. I have failed you, Master.
That was an Uberok. Great fight. No pluses.
The time of the Argent Crusade is now.
The quantity and quality of the tribute chest is based on how many unsuccessful attempts you had. We had no... Where's our chest? We had no unsuccessful attempts. You asshole. Whatever. Anyways. Yeah. So now we have to do some dungeons as Alliance. I actually prefer the Alliance version of these dungeons over the Horde, to be quite honest with you. That's because Sylvanas actually pisses me off here. There's actually a line, I'll point it out when we get there, which Sylvanas is just a Rule 0 violator on. So... right. I'll jot down a note about that. I mean, I've usually done these on Horde, and Sylvanas, she's evil. Like, there's no nuance. There's no nothing. She's just straight up evil. Let's go ahead and get some summons on, because it looks like some people don't know the way in. That would be funny, Magister. I would argue that Sylvanas is beyond the concept of good or evil in Warcraft 3. Sorry, in Frozen Throne, to be more clear. In Warcraft 3, she's an unpleasant person who is on the side of good. Like, remember, this woman was always a warmonger. Like, that's nothing new. So, BC established the trend. All the way back in BC, we had the Magister's Terrace. But then in Wrath and in Cata, they introduced the concept of an end trio of dungeons. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say that I love these dungeons, which is a shame that we're giving them, like, no gameplay positives whatsoever. We start with the Forge of Souls, which I am contractually obligated to remind you is something that the jailer planned for all the way in advance.
Shh, I'm trying to think here. All I ever wanted was to study.
We're severely undermanned to risk a venture to the Citadel, but the opportunity like this are too
Thank the
rare.
light for seeing you here safely.
Stop.
We have much work to do if we are to defeat the Lich King and put an end to the Scourge. Our allies within the Argent Crusade and the Knights of the Ebon Blade have broken through the front gate of Icecrown and are attempting to establish a foothold within the Citadel. Their success hinges upon what we discover within these cursed halls. Although our mission is fraught with peril, we must persevere. With the attention of the Lich King drawn toward the front gate, we will be working our way through the side in search of information that will enable us to defeat the Scourge once and for all. King Variant's SI-7 agents have gathered information about a private sanctum of the Lich King's, deep within a place called the Halls of Reflection. We will carve a path through this wretched place and find a way to enter the Halls of Reflection. I sense powerful magic hidden away within those halls. Magic that could be the key to destroying the Scourge. Make haste, champions. I will prepare the troops to fall in behind you.
Okay, so she's gonna get. You remember all the the dailies and the dungeons and the Argent Crusade hub, and then the Argent Crusade dungeon, and then the Argent Crusade raid. All of that was done in preparation for the assault we're about to do. So we're about to see all of those Argent Crusaders and representatives from the Horde and Alliance who are going to join us, not actually for this dungeon, but for the next dungeon, because Jaina is going to get them for this dungeon. By the way, I'd say about 90% of the time walking groups I have die on that trash pack right there. That's not a joke. Every single time, they are completely unprepared for the trash of Forge of Souls. So, why is it called the Forge of Souls? So if you look down there, you'll see those things. Those are soul grinders. I'll give you 3 points if you can guess why they're called soul grinders. They don't actually talk about that much here, but of all the things, I will say they at least remembered that particular plot thread and decided to pay it off much, much later, even if they did it in the worst way humanly possible. Yes, they make delicious coffee. I don't know. Die. God. Yeah, very Doom tech going on here. Pretty linear corridor, but you can fall off if you're wondering, and I would not recommend doing so because you will fall into the soul grinders. You'll probably not enjoy the experience. So that depends on how you define it, Lord Harrimont, unfortunately. So the absolute last time at which you will be forced out of time walking is 71. Notice I am currently level 71. At level 70, they'll be like, hey, you should leave time walking. At level 68, you lose the ability to enter time walking. So in other words, if you stay in time walking, you're fine at 68. But you cannot switch. You're locked in. So I think of Anubarak's personality in the raid. He doesn't have any. Like, there's no personality to Anubarak there. He's just a boss fight.
Finally, a captive audience.
So, that boss is a reference, which I had to Google because I didn't get it. I'm not a big jazz fan. I don't know what you want from me. Fun fight. He's an area denial positioning fight. I don't have much to say about this dungeon, honestly. Some nice visuals. And the sight of the grinders down there is terrifying. Shadowlands aside. So I don't give the negative to Wrath, I give that negative to Shadowlands. It's still going. It is literally a reference. It's a jazz reference. If you don't get it immediately, you're probably not going to. Okay, so this is the last boss. There's only 2 bosses in here. This boss is fun. Make sure you're taking care of your healer, and every now and again, all the damage you do to the boss, they will do to you. Another boss I usually see a lot of people die on in Time Walking.
The swell of souls will not be abated! You only delay the inevitable!
Okay, so here's all our champions. There's, we got Draenei, we got humans, we got gnomes, we got dwarves. It's all the Alliance champions. Okay, remember that. That's important.
Shh, I'm trying to think here.
The Pit of Saran lies ahead.
Excellent work, champions. We shall set up our base camp in these chambers. My Magi will get the Scourge transport device working shortly. Step inside it when you are ready for your next mission. I will meet you on the other side.
So, as I was saying,
All I ever wanted was to study.
the Pit of Saran lies ahead, and if our scouts are correct, past that will be the Halls of Reflection. It is there that Arthas lets his guard down. It's there we might hope to find a clue to his weakness. Or just maybe his redemption.
I'm trying to think here.
So, I'm definitely going to give a music positive to the Pit of Saran. I mean, do I even need to make the point? And nobody moved, nobody moved, nobody... Him. Let me write down my notes really quick. So yeah, Pit of Saran is exactly what it sounds like. It's the quarry where they've been mining out Serenite. Now, they didn't really discuss it, so I'm just going to tell you right now, because they never covered this properly. Serenite is the blood of Yogg-Saron, slowly frozen over tremendous amounts of time into a very, very thick, viscous material that can be smelted like a metal. Now, as a result of being the literal blood of an old god, it has a whole bunch of old god properties to it, which is why it's so damaging to things like nature, arcane, and the light, as we've already seen earlier. It also tends to be extremely durable once it's properly treated and refined. This is why the second Lich King has made so much of his fortress and his forces around Serenite. It's a mockery. Because the undead aren't driven insane by it, because his will is overriding it. But, well, I wouldn't want to be around Serenite if I wasn't already undead, if you get my meaning. So that's Scourgelord's Tyrannus up there. So, you remember those champions? The Alliance champions that have fought through, like, months to become the champions of the Alliance? Well, here they are.
Intruders have entered the Master's domain. Signal the alarms. Fodder. Not even fit to labor in a quarry. Relish these final moments, for soon you will be nothing more than mindless undead.
Heroes of the Alliance, attack!
Your last waking memory will be of agonizing pain.
Anyways, they're all dead.
You monster!
Minions, destroy these interlopers!
I do what I must. Please forgive me, noble soldiers. You will have to make your way across this quarry on your own.
All I ever wanted was to study.
Free any Alliance slaves that you come across. We will most certainly need their assistance in battling Tyrannus. I will gather reinforcements and join you on the other side of the quarry.
So, I sure hope that massive Argent Crusade we spent an entire patch on and months in Loron was worth it, because this is all it amounted to right here. And if you're wondering, it's the same damn thing on the Horde. In lore, Reign 36. So, here's the pit. There's actually a couple of ways you can go here. Most people use the let's skip all the trash route, which is over here. Let's go ahead and free some slaves. Oh, Alliance slaves for some reason. I wouldn't worry too much about that. We didn't die because we didn't charge forward to actually fight him. He killed them all because he literally strangled them to death. Something we'll be seeing again not too long from now. Yeah, there's where the Lich King keeps an eye. Get it? On his mine. And as you can see, there's a bunch of Serenite, like a lot of Serenite in there. Yeah, I could see that, Mr. Floyd Brickton. There's really no front line to speak of. Pretty much, actually, Blade All. That's a good way to put that. Imagine a raid group that just charged in and died. There's the Forge Master. This was a really mean fight to get his achievement. So he does a constant aura, which does frost damage, which is fine. The achievement was to never get more than a certain number of stacks of that aura. And he throws down these chunks of rock, which you can kind of gauge where they're going to be based on your positioning, because they'll target a player. And you get behind those to get out of line of sight of them.
Oh, axe too weak. Garfrost make better and Garfrost hope giant undermans clean save boss great shame for late.
Another shall take his place. You waste your time.
So notice it's all Alliance people.
You need something?
If you're on the Horde, it's all Horde people, by the way. You've done well this day. With many of the slaves freed and now access to the forges, it'll not be long before I have a strong force to aid in delivering us from the Scourge Lord Tyrannus.
See you around.
We need to make our way up the main path and through the cave. They'll be forced to confront us there. Go now. My men and I will be there to stand with you.
Good one.
Yes, it's Sylvanas here instead. And Sylvanas says, I'm evil!
This way. We're about to mount an assault on the...
Hey, look, there's a couple of Horde NPCs. Alright, they're all dead. If you're Horde, this is the only place you see Alliance NPCs, where they are also killed immediately. And yeah, Sylvanas, I want to stress this for a minute. Sylvanas really is just pure on I'm evil and nothing else in this dungeon. It's really pathetic. Then there's this boss. This is a fixate boss.
Must not be interrupted. Wait, stop. Don't kill me, please. I'll tell you everything.
I'm not so naive as to believe your appeal for clemency, but I will listen.
What you seek is in the Master's lair, but you must destroy Tyrannus to gain entry. Now, within the halls of reflection, you will find Frostmourne. It holds the truth.
Frostmourne lies unguarded? Impossible.
I swear it's true. Please don't kill me.
Worthless gnat. Death is all that awaits you.
Then he chokes him to death again. He likes doing that choke move.
Do not think that I shall permit you entry into my master's sanctum so easily. Pursue me if you dare.
What a cruel end. Come, heroes. We must see if the gnome's story is true. If we can separate Arthas from Frostmourne, we might have a chance at stopping him.
I'm not sure, Asmiristar. I doubt it.
Your pursuit shall be in vain, intruders.
So the best way to do this fight is to get ahead of it before they actually aggro. See?
You will not reach the
because that trash right there sucked.
Soldiers, destroy them.
They haven't even spawned it properly yet, but yeah, the trash. There it is. That trash right there. That trash sucked. These guys hurt. Imagine fighting 5 mages in a single trash bundle at once. Ugh. The cave gauntlet's really cool, but this stuff was all mean. I was hoping for a list of the dialogue that Sylvanas says here. It looks like she doesn't.
Rhymefang, trap them within the tunnel. Bury them alive.
Nobody's aware of that, Leitipal. Except maybe Uther. Hell, we don't know that at this point. I've only been making the distinction because it's actually important, I think, for understanding what's going on. Yeah, look, it's all Alliance slaves and no Horde. Or the reverse, if you're on the other side.
Alas, brave adventurers, your meddling has reached its end. Do you hear the clatter of bone and steel coming up the tunnel behind you? That is the sound of your impending
Heroes,
demise.
We will hold off the undead as long as we can, even to our dying breath. Deal with the Scourge Lord.
Such an amusing gesture from
5,
the rabble.
4,
when I have finished
3,
with you,
2,
my master's
1.
blade will feast upon your souls. Die.
Also, that's Rhymefang, who is a boss in Citadel.
Impossible! Rhymefang! Warn!
Brave champions, we owe you our lives, our freedom. Though it be a tiny gesture in the face of this enormous debt, I pledge that from this day forth, all will know of your deeds and the blazing path of light you cut through the shadow of this dark citadel. This day will stand as a testament not only to your valor, but to the fact that no foe, not even the Lich King himself, can stand
Heroes,
when
to me.
Alliance and Horde set aside their differences and...
Negative to story.
The Frost Queen is gone. We must keep moving. Our objective is near. I could not save them. Damn you, Arthas! Damn you!
No, Mr. Why do you keep asking that? No, for like the third time in the last 5 minutes. No. Hang on a second. I'm trying to find something here real quick. Of course she said Art. Oh my god. Okay. Everyone calls the Lich King Arthas because nobody knows that Arthas is a different entity. So they all assume that the Lich King and Arthas are the same people. Nobody knows otherwise at this point in time. Even Mr. Red doesn't know. Here we go. So, obviously it's a Horde person there if you're on the Horde. And then the Horde person says pretty much the exact same thing. In fact, I think it is literally the same dialogue. Nobody can stand against us when the Alliance and the Horde set aside their differences and work together. He is interrupted by Rhyme Fang killing his ass. That's not the negative to story. Then Sylvanas says, and I quote, "I thought he'd never shut up. At last, Sindragosa silenced that long-winded fool." The best part is it's not even voice acted well. And you've heard Sylvanas' voice actress. She's a really good voice actress. Also, a small but interesting tidbit here. And I will give them credit for this. The Alliance slaves who are alive are all mages. They all ice blocked. That's not even funny. That's just kind of interesting.
I'm trying to think here.
Such senseless waste. Arthas goes too far. I can only hope what we find in the Halls of Reflection somehow makes this worth it. If what the vile gnome said is to be trusted, Frostborn should be there, and with it our answers to confronting Arthas.
All I ever wanted was
We must press on. We've come so far. We're so close to our goal. We must delay a moment to send Delandra back to the ship. I'm uncertain how we're going to escape with so many men lost. Yeah, by the way, at this point, we started off with an entire army at our back. And now we have us and Jaina. And that is it. And I will give these 3 dungeons that. Have you noticed the trend there, right? Have you noticed that the filter is still happening? The only ones who get to the end of this particular gauntlet are the best of the best.
The chill of this place. Ooh, I can feel my blood freezing. What is that? Up ahead. Could it be? Heroes at my side!
Shh, I'm trying to think here. All I ever wanted was to study.
Halls of Reflection, finally. Let me know when you're ready. Arthas may not be here, but it would be naive to think you would leave Frostborn unguarded entirely. Shh. Can you remove the sword? Let's find out.
Frostmourne, the blade that destroyed our kingdom. Stand back! Touch that blade and your soul will be scarred for all eternity. I must attempt to commune with the spirits locked away within Frostmourne. Give me space. Back up, please!
Jaina, could it truly be you?
Uther! Dear Uther! I'm so sorry.
Jaina, you haven't much time. The Lich King sees what the sword sees. He will be here shortly.
Arthas is here? Maybe I...
No, girl. Arthas is not here. Arthas is merely a presence within the Lich King's mind. A dwindling presence.
But Uther, if there's any hope of reaching Arthas, I must try.
Jaina, listen to me. You must destroy the Lich King. You cannot reason with him. He will kill you and your allies and raise you all as powerful soldiers of the Scourge.
Tell me how, Uther. How do I destroy my prince?
Snap out of it, girl. You must destroy the Lich King at the place where he merged with Ner'zhul. Atop the spire, at the frozen throne. It is the only way.
You're right, Uther. Forgive me. I don't know what got a hold of me. We will deliver this information to the king and the knights that battle the Scourge within Icecrown Citadel.
There is something else that you should know about the Lich King. Control over the Scourge must never be lost. Even if you were to strike down the Lich King, another would have to take his place. For without the control of its master, the Scourge would run rampant across the world, destroying all living things. A grand sacrifice by a noble soul.
Who could bear such a burden?
I do not know, Jaina. I suspect that the piece of Arthas that might be left inside the Lich King is all that holds the Scourge from annihilating Azeroth.
Then maybe there is still hope.
No, Jaina! He is coming. You... Silence, Paladin. So, you wish to commune with the dead. You shall have your wish. Valric, Marwyn, bring their corpses to my chamber when you are through.
As you wish, my lord.
Soldiers of Lordaeron, rise to meet your master's call.
You won't deny me this, Arthas. I must know. I must find out.
So, you like elevator fights, right? That's effectively what this is. And yes, these were the two captains of Warcraft 3's human campaign. They were never named, I think? But don't quote me on that, because there's been patches and updates since then. We've got Shadowy Mercenaries. We've got Priests, which do exactly what you think would. Footmen. It's all their Warcraft 3 troops here. This is actually pretty rough back in the day. Controlling who you got and how quickly you had to aggro them was kind of a big part of the gameplay here. Like, okay, we've got a Shadowy Mercenary, we've got a troop, and we've got a mage. Okay, so nuke down the mage and lock it down. Tank is going to hold the footman. And someone interrupt the priest.
Women and children. None were spared the master's wrath. Your death will be no different. Morwen, finish them!
Neither of these are Thornby. I don't know who Thornby is. I don't think I've ever done a line of sight strat in here. That might have made this easier. Yeah, the two guys flanking Death Knight Arthas at the end of the Warcraft 3 human campaign, that's Marwick and Falric and Marwyn. As usual with these kind of things, you could fall behind if you didn't kill quickly enough. Yeah, I actually meant to show off the trailer earlier, but I'm stupid, so we'll show it off in a moment.
Death is all that you will find here. Yes, run. Run to meet your destiny. Its bitter, cold embrace awaits you.
It's hard to believe there is much hope of defeating Arthas upon the steps of his own throne. And who will take up the crown of the Lich King if it comes to that? Many questions remain, but you need to find Jaina and escape the Lich King while there's still time. Speaking of, negative to story.
Master, I have failed.
So, yeah, the name of the quest is Wrath of the Lich King. What is this, FF14? I'm not joking, though. There's... Funny you say that, as Miristar. They could have made the There Must Always Be a Lich King plot thread work. They don't. They don't put any real effort or thought into making it work. Instead, it's just, there must always be a Lich King. Just trust me, bro. And they treat it as if that's a big point, and so it becomes this big drama point, and it falls completely flat as a result.
Your allies have arrived, Jaina, just as you promised. You will all become powerful agents of the...
He is too powerful. We must leave this place at once. My magic can hold him in place for only a short time. Come quickly, heroes.
All I ever wanted was to study.
Part of the crew, part of the ship. Ignore that he's building entire frickin' new necropoli out of Serenite over there underground. Just ignore that for a second.
There is no escape.
Call me a weirdo. Of course, I can't give this any points. But if I could...
Destroy this barrier. You must hold the undead back.
I would probably give this a lot of positives right here. So, he's always advancing on you. He's your soft and rage. He's your timer. These enemies, the trash, all have to die in order to make Jaina open up the next way forward.
Succumb to the chill of the grave.
How you deal with this depended entirely on your skill, your composition, and your gear. Some people, for example, would go all the way to the end, like I'm kind of doing here, in order to try and make sure that we had as much time as possible to deal with each given thing. Notice the first wave is pretty short. You only have
Another
2 waves.
Keep the undead from interrupting my incantation so that I may bring this wall down.
But you also only have, like, maybe 100 feet or so to work with. Here we have a lot more room to work with. And yeah, by the way, if he reaches you, you die. They even added a thing. You see those purple lines coming out of them? That was a mechanic they added in order to try and make sure that you didn't just try to get behind him, which is something people tried early on. Like, if you could survive getting past that frosty hell around him. You probably can't survive it, but even if you do, you will find only death awaits you in the back.
We're almost there. Don't give up.
And yeah, obviously this is all a bit of a conceit to try and get players to see a little bit of what they're facing. Narratively,
How long can you fight it?
Narratively, this is also kind of cool because the whole idea is we're going to go infiltrate the Lich King. Okay, we've successfully made it in. We have our first success. Then immediately, then you just start over. Although it's possible that if you're in a group, you can't res yourself. Like, if I die behind the Lich King, you can't res me over there because I'm behind the Lich King. Anyways,
Your barriers can't hold us back much longer, monster. I will shatter them all!
So, losing my train of thought. We have our first big setback, and then we have our second big setback almost immediately. Then we have some more success. Then we have another setback as things go even more to hell. Then it's like, okay, we got this. We finally have a win. We finally found this area. We get one little tidbit of information. And then Lich King himself is on our trail. And from then on, it's just a run. It's just trying to get the hell out of Dodge. I do think this could have been done better, but I still think it is done good, in my opinion. I will say from experience that there were several runs of this where we were all the way up here on this final bundle of trash. And I mean up here, fighting the trash, while the Lich King was right here. Like in striking distance of us. So this was pretty intense back in the day. Now let's run into that bug Braven found, shall we?
There's an opening up ahead. Go now! It's a dead end. We have no choice but to fight. Steel yourself, heroes, for this is our last stand.
That'll be fine. This might also bug out, so we'll see.
Nowhere to run. You're mine now. Fire! Fire!
Quickly, climb aboard. We mustn't tarry here. There's no telling when this whole mountainside will collapse.
Forgive me, heroes. I should have listened to Uther. I had to see for myself. To look into his eyes one last time. I am sorry. We now know what must be done. I will deliver this news to King Varian and High Lord Fordring.
Shh.
And
I'm trying to
Troll?
think here. All I ever wanted was to study.
Merely believe we're still alive. It was foolish of me to follow him. I made that mistake too many times. And you, it was reckless of you to come with me instead of escaping. But thank you. You truly are a hero. With Uther's guidance, we may stand a chance at defeating Arthas. All the lives lost today were not lost in vain. Also, it is Sylvanas on the Horde. Because, I guess I'll get the loot. Now seems as good a time as any. Do you remember that terrible, terrible trailer for the Argent Dawn, which is just a nothing burger? Let's try something a little bit better this time, shall we?
Rise up, Argent Crusaders! The hour of justice has come!
Can you feel it, my son? Closing in all around you. The light's justice has been awakened. The sins of the past have finally caught up to you. You will be called to account for all the atrocities you've committed. The unspeakable horrors you've let loose upon this world. Ancient powers you've enslaved. Though my soul was one of the first to be devoured by your evil, there are thousands more bound within this blade, and they cry out for release. Look now to your defenses, my son, for the champions of justice gather at your gates.
No joke, that's one of my favorite of the patch trailers. Not the absolute favorite. I'd probably put it at the number 3 slot. That's a really good patch trailer. Are you on Alliance, Mr. Red? Yeah, at some point, Mr. Flat. I forget what that was, but I've seen it before, yeah. Let's see, is this an alliance? That does look like an alliance. Okay, you pass. So you'll notice, all of a sudden, I've been deliberately avoiding it. Up here, there's some Argents and some Ebons. The only ones who managed to get this far. Us, and the best of the 2 elite orders. I also want to take a moment just to appreciate the Icecrown Citadel itself. Very deliberately and openly inspired by Barad-dûr, by the way. Now, I see several people here. I'm vaguely surprised by that. I wonder if they fixed it. Yes, this is the very last line of the filter. There is nothing past this point. And yes, you can, as Miristar. Huh, looks like they fixed it. Wild. I will remove that negative. Huh. Welcome to one of the best raids in the game. There's Mirrodin.
Only by working together can we succeed. Each of us has a role.
So what I just heard is kill Horde scum. Yeah, of course, Talia. WoW's patch cycle is kind of the inverse of FF14's patch cycle. In FF14, you face the end of the story arc in the launch content, and then the patches are usually another story arc or a continuation. In WoW, the yes, the entire expansion is the same thing, right? In other words, imagine if the final boss of Endwalker was someone you fought at the last patch of Endwalker.
There's work to be done.
That kind of a thing. So is he supposed to be that big? You know, I get that question approximately 100% of the time when I stream WoW. So let's explain this for just a second. Why are NPCs so much bigger than we are? And why are enemies so much bigger than we are, even when they are not that big in lore? It's because they want you to be able to see the targeted person or enemy in question when 25 or 40 people are swarming around them constantly. That's it. That's the reason. It's why Illidan was suddenly like 20 feet tall back in the Black Temple.
This is our final stand. What happens here will echo through the ages. Regardless of outcome, they will know that we fought with honor, that we fought for the freedom and safety of our people. Remember, heroes, fear is your greatest enemy in these befouled halls. Steel your heart, and your soul will shine brighter than 1,000 suns. The enemy will falter at the sight of you. They will fall as the light of righteousness envelops them. Our march upon Icecrown Citadel begins now!
You now stand upon the hallowed ground of the Scourge. The light won't protect you here, Paladin. Nothing will protect you.
Arthas! I swore that I would see you dead and the Scourge dismantled. I'm going to finish what I started at Light's Hope.
You could have been my greatest champion, Fordring. A force of darkness that would wash over this world and deliver it into a new age of strife. But that honor is no longer yours. Soon, I will have a new champion. The breaking of this one has been taxing. The atrocities I have committed upon his soul. He has resisted for so long, but he will bow down before his king soon. Never! I will never serve you! In the end, you will all serve me.
So, in case you missed that.
Lord Fordring. If Bolvar lives, mayhap there is hope for peace between the Alliance and the Horde. We must reach the top of this cursed place and free the Paladin!
Why would you say that?
By the light, it must be so.
That... I like Citadel, but we're going to give a couple of negatives to this stupid place.
Prepare the Skybreaker for an aerial assault on the Citadel! Heroes, you must fight your way to a clear extraction point within Icecrown. We'll try and rendezvous on the ramparts.
Cool. So in case you missed that, which you did, of course, if you're here as the Horde, then there's a line by Varrock, I think, who flat out says, "Oh my god, the human paladin, or the human warrior, or whatever. If we bring him back alive, maybe we can help mend our relations with the Alliance." Which makes sense, right? But then the Alliance is like, "Oh my god, Bolvar being alive will make peace with the Horde." What? Also, keep in mind he's saying that about 5 feet from Varian, the guy who declared war. So I don't think Varian cares.
This is the who goes there.
That was what the hell? That was strange. So here's Lord Marogar. He's our next level abomination. He's not an abomination made of flesh, he's an abomination made of bone.
The Scourge will wash over this world.
It wouldn't, Mr. Floyd.
Of death and destruction.
So, he puts crap on the ground. He's actually got a lot of attacks which are hard to dodge. He's got the spikes, which will impale people. But the real reason... Yeah, that's the spikes. Come on, do Bone Storm. Do it, do it, do it. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna. Alright, whatever.
Only darkness.
So that is Icecrown. The real Icecrown. Several people, when we got here, were really, really, really confused about why Icecrown was like this giant metal thing. Because for those of you who've played Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne, you know that Icecrown is a giant glacier. In fact, it is a chunk of nether ice slammed down into this part of the world, which happened to contain the essence of Ner'zhul. So we find out here it's been inside, like the Citadel was actually built around the sucker, which I actually think is extremely cool. Well, you know, truthfully, I'm not sure it means anything in particular, Magister. In this case, it probably means it's frozen fell to some extent or another. Demonic ice, in other words. And yeah, the walkway up there that Arthas did, it was torn up, so we can't go up the same way he did back in Frozen Throne.
You have found your way here, because you are among the few gifted with true vision in a world cursed with blindness. You can see through the fog that hangs over this world like a shroud, and grasp where true power lies. Fix your eyes upon your crude hands, the sinew, the soft meat, the dark blood coursing within. It is a weakness, a crippling flaw, a joke played by the creators upon their own creations. The sooner you come to accept your condition as a defect, the sooner you will find yourselves in a position to transcend it.
So to my knowledge, this is our very first female Lich. And allow me to agree with Mr. Floyd Pinkerton completely. She looks really cool. I'll get a little bit closer here.
Through our master, all things are possible. His power is without limit, and his will unbending. Those who oppose him will be destroyed utterly. And those who serve wholly, unquestioningly, with utter devotion of mind and soul, elevated to heights beyond your ken.
This fight was rough. All these fights were rough. I'm actually holding myself back from talking about the fights, because if I do, this is going to take like an extra hour. I know this place inside and out. I led raids in here. Multiple, 10-man and 25-man. I got the 25-man achievement when it was hard. I got the 10-man achievement when it was hard. Like, we were part of the world first race for the Lich King. I know this place pretty well. So instead, we're just going to go and booper.
What?
Phase 2.
I see I must take matters into my own hands! All part of the Master's plan! Your end is inevitable!
So first boss, big AoE, heal check, DPS check. Second boss, absolutely brutal as hell. Constantly paying... It's technically a trash fight for the first half of it. But, whoa, probably one of the meanest trash fights I've ever seen. Sorry, I shouldn't call it a trash fight, an ad fight. Up here, we see the Horde, who we kill. Or if you're a Horde, you see Alliance, and you kill the Alliance.
Thank goodness you arrived when you did, heroes. Orgrim's hammer has already left. Quickly now, to the Skybreaker. If you leave soon...
You'll have my thanks. We were outnumbered until you arrived.
So, negative to story. Just straight up, negative to story. I'm not even going to explain it. I'm not even going to explain it. We're done. Negative to story.
Aye aye!
Oh my god, what was that nonsense? Like, it's just... Doing stuff at the Broken Front was already bad enough. We're about to fight the other side in and around Icecrown Citadel. The actual headquarters of the Lich King. Remember, most of the people who have charged into Northrend are frickety dead. We have lost thousands of troops, if not more, depending on how the numbers line up. We have lost armies getting up here. And it's like, all right, now let's go kill each other.
Fire up the engines. We got a meeting with Destiny, lads.
It looks like the camera isn't bugged anymore.
Hold on to your hats!
Right. I should probably go get ready to do the fight in like 3 seconds. It does, Blade Duvall, and we know that. Yep, factional derangement syndrome. It's pretty bad in Wrath.
What in the world is that? Grab me spyglass, crewman. Buy me own beer. Horde sailing in fast and hot!
Horde, I remind you, are here to try and make peace.
4, 3.
Just remember that for a second.
2,
That's not a joke.
1.
That's actually in canon. So let's kill them all.
Cowardly don't say
And they're
I
dead.
didn't warn you, scoundrels. Onward, brothers and sisters! This is not your What's this, then? You won't be taking this son of iron for— Not me, Battle. I dunno who you think you are, mister. But I got a score to settle with Arthas. And you're not getting in me way. Fire! All guns! Fire!
And that's the excuse. Straight up comic book. All right, Mr. Red. Hang on a second. Did you get the milk I asked you to? You didn't get the milk? I'll kill you, Mr. Red. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Die. Die. Oh, wait. Hang on. The milk was right here. Never mind. I'm not even joking. That's straight up comic book. I hate this. I hate this. I agree. Let's give a second negative for it because it's even worse than that. Like, it is so patently, ridiculously terrible. Now, the good news is we see the cutscene after this fight instead of before.
Let's get
The bad news is we're about to give another negative to story.
Horde soldier that you killed. For every Alliance dog that fell, the Lich King's armies grew. Even now, the Valkyr work to raise your fallen as Scourge. Things are about to get much worse. Come, taste the power that the Lich King has bestowed upon me.
A lone orc? Against the might of the Alliance? Charge!
You're an idiot.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
By the might of the Lich King.
Yeah, he's ready for a negative to story. By the way, this fight was considered the barrier fight. Remember I keep talking about that concept? A lot of people, a lot of raid groups would get to this fight and then could not beat Deathbringer Sourfang. You notice how quickly he's attacking, by the way? This fight was mean. He does all kinds of fun things, and balancing his adds and the boiling blood and the damage he is pouring out. Oh, yeah, this is a mean one.
I am released.
Alright, let's do it. Let's bring a negative to story. I'm ready.
That was Sourfang's boy, the Horde commander at the Wrath Gate. Such a tragic end. What in the... There in the distance! Soldiers, fall in! Looks like the Horde are coming to take another shot!
Who's piloting that ship?
Don't force me hand, Orc. We can't let you pass. Behind you lies the body of my only son. Nothing will keep me from him. I can't do it. Get back on your ship and we'll spare your life.
Why are you even threatening him? Yeah, why is Mirrodin fanatically Alliance? He's not even part of the Alliance.
Stand down, Muradin.
The Alliance didn't exist when he fell in Northrend.
No Ko kills Ilnok Atar. I will not forget this kindness. I thank you, Highness.
I was not at the Wrathgate, but the soldiers who survived told me much of what happened. Your son fought with honor. He died a hero's death. He deserves a hero's burial.
Yes, Jaina's literally crying.
Why are you crying?
It was nothing, Your Majesty. Just... I'm proud of my king.
Muradin, secure the deck and prepare our soldiers for an assault on the upper citadel. I'll send out another regiment from Stormwind.
Right away, Your Majesty!
Yeah, I changed my mind. 3 negatives, let's go!
Ready to work. What is it?
God. I should mention that when I say I liked this raid, it's pretty much entirely on the gameplay axis. I just didn't fire it up, late of all. Yep, that's the end of the faction bullcrap in Wrath. The line would be great if they earned it.
The transporter worked.
I can feel the Lich King reaching out, watching us.
Watching us, he is. No, I would say Varian gets better because they suddenly decided he was a different character in Pandaria. Ugh. Okay, so you've seen Noxramas, right? Time to do 3 wings. Plague, Blood, Frost. 1 for each of the stylings of the Death Knights. Ugh. I'm debating something. Sorry, give me a second. You know what? Hang on. For narrative cohesion, I'll be right back. I'm glad you're liking it, Talia. I am still sad you didn't like Kata, or to be slightly more accurate, I'm sad that Kata wasn't to your liking. Don't blame you for that at all. Don't worry, this is going to be quick. I'm just going to do something else really quick, okay? I'm not even going to listen to the dialogue at the beginning. We're just going to run through it because I want to show you something, okay? So I'll be right back. Hopefully it won't kick me while I do this. Yeah, we're going to see an actually good cutscene, which ironically would be a negative to gameplay if we were reviewing the gameplay of these. Oh, shoot. I'm in the wrong position. I was here to do the raids. And then yeah, I'm stupid. Hang on. I mean, that's what the Warcrafts were. And yeah, we're starting Kata tomorrow, so, you know. Set to heroic. Okay, we should be good. I guess I can talk about the fights a little bit. So the first guy, like I said, he impales you. That's a DPS check. He puts lines of flame on the ground. Watch the hell out for those. Not yet, Mr. Red, since those actually have more to do with Kata than anything in Wrath. So we're saving those for dead last. We'll be starting with Worgen or Goblin. I forget which, but one of the two. Aimed that badly. I disliked the Halion raid, but I have to admit, I'm not sure how it would reveal.
What happens here will echo through the ages. Regardless of outcome, they will know that we fought with honor. That we fought for the freedom and safety of our people. Remember, heroes, fear is your greatest enemy in these befouled halls. Steel your heart and your soul will shine brighter than 1,000 suns.
A bit of a sound spam here, sorry. I'm in as much of a hurry as I can be.
Our march upon Ice-Crown Citadel begins now.
For those of you wondering, the glide is actually faster than just running. That's why I'm constantly double dashing.
You have found your way here because you are among the few gifted with true vision. What is
Phase 2.
Oh, but
Arthas, I swore that I would see you dead and the Scourge dismantled. I'm going to finish what I started at Light's Hope.
You could have been my greatest champion, Fordring. A force of darkness that would wash over this world and deliver it into a new age of strife.
I don't know what I'm in combat with, and I don't care. Bye.
Yours. Soon, I will have a new champion.
Hey, look, Alliance dogs. We must kill the Alliance scum.
The atrocities I have committed upon his soul. He has resisted for
Thank the spirits for you, brothers and sisters. The Skybreaker has already left. Quickly now, to Orgrimmar.
Akamagosh, brave warriors.
Never!
The Alliance
I will never serve you!
We'll be pleased to see you aboard. In the end, you will all serve.
Hey, Nordame. One moment, please. They haven't even stopped their initial speech yet. Come on, Varrock, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Paladin sons and daughters of the Horde!
Is it possible?
Today we battle a
Could he have
hated enemy of the
survived?
Horde! Loktar!
Thank you for the sub.
Power of the light knows no bounds.
100% Spartan. No doubt. No question.
Under great strain, but he lives. For now.
But tricking might be a little bit too overselling it.
If we rescue Bolvar Fordragon, we may quell the unrest between the Alliance and the Horde. Our mission is now clear. The Lich King will answer for his crimes, and we...
So let's see what they say on the Horde side, shall we?
3, 2, 1.
Corcoran, prepare. Alliance gunship! All hands on deck! You answer to Sourfang now! Move your jalopy or we'll blow it out of the sky, Orc! The Horde's got no business here! You will know our business soon! Corcoran, annihilate them!
There you go. Mirrodin says, you have no business here. And we says, oh yeah, we'll kill you.
Marines! Sergeants! Attack! You dare board my ship? Your death will come swiftly!
You got it, Nordame. Thank you again. So yeah, both of them are stupid. So no joy there. Now, thankfully, this is actually a decent cutscene. It just takes forever, and you have to see it every single time you do this fight. And remember, this is a barrier boss. So, you will die to this fight if you don't know what you're doing. You'll probably die to this fight even if you do know what you're doing.
Speak quickly, and speak the truth.
Corcoran, move out! Champions, watch your backs! The Scourge have been caught!
Join me, Father. Join me, and we will crush this world in the name of the Scourge, for the glory of the Lich King.
My boy died at the Wrathgate. I am here only to collect his body.
Stubborn and old, what chance do you have? I am stronger and more powerful than you ever were.
We named him Dranosh. It means Heart of Draenor in Orcish. I would not let the Warlocks take him. My boy would be safe, hidden away by the Elders of Garadar. I made a promise to his mother before she died, that I would cross the dark portal alone. Whether I lived or died, my son would be safe, untainted. Today, I fulfill that promise.
Pathetic old orc. Come then, heroes.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Of the Scourge.
Yeah, I actually already answered that, Ventures, and Huthor did too. Also, canonically, these guys are being choked the entire fight. Just a fun thing to think about.
By them, I am released.
You will have a proper ceremony in Nagrand, next to the pyres of your mother and ancestors.
It is a good scene. It's a damn good scene. That's why it would be a negative to gameplay. If those existed.
Honor young heroes, no matter how dire the battle. Never forsake it.
You ever wonder one of the reasons why I get so pissed off about the HVA thing? Part of the reason is the Horde just have better story. And this is just another example of that. The Horde cutscene destroys the Alliance one in terms of quality. Correct, Lord Harriman. We just showed it. You just missed it, Ventures. We did the Alliance one first. Yeah, like, don't mistake me. The Horde story is generally really good. That's not the problem. So let's see if it kicked me out. Nope, we're still here. Perfect. So, Plague Wing first. So you like Futurama references, right? Because that's essentially what we're going to get with the Plague Wing, is Futurama references. Some really great boss fights. All the boss fights in here are so damn good. Like, name a bad boss fight in Citadel, and I'll call you a liar. Oh yeah, they also had shortcuts. Something they also did in Old War, so...
Precious! No!
It really is, Magister. So we have Rotface over here, and another equivalent over there. These fights, God, these fights were so mean. These fights were so mean on Heroic. I think Spartan hit the trap. Hey, Czar. I understand completely, Thalia. Good news, everyone! You're going to go die horribly. Dude, I don't know, Huthor. Like, these fights are good, but... He's actually... Oh, where is he? Shoot. He's like right there. Yeah, there he is. He's actually right up there. Oh, someone hit it. I was gonna say, how many of you ever got to the other side and forgot to hit the stupid valve?
Good news, everyone. I fixed the poison slime pipes.
Oh god, heroic putricide. Neo, Xenoblade 3, and Dragon's Dogma 2. You got it, Enemy Show. Thank you as always for being part of the show. So, I was the...
Great news, everyone. You cannot escape us.
You shut up, please. I'm trying to listen to the dialogue. God.
No! You keep stinking! Great news, everyone! The slime is flowing again!
Oh, this fight. This fight. Managing your gas.
Terrible news, everyone. Rotface is dead. But great news, everyone! Great news, everyone! The slime is flowing
Watch
again!
your step.
Okay, he's kind of bugged. He shouldn't be saying that often, but whatever. So... Yeah, managing your gas on that fight was a whole thing. So let me brag for a second, okay? I'll tell you a bit of a story. I think I told this during the lore run, too. I was the vehicle tank on Heroic Putricide, and I was frickin' good at it. As I've mentioned before, I've always just weirdly been good at vehicle sections. I was also the best DPSer back on the loot ship fight as well, for whatever stupid reason. And, yeah. So, in this fight, one of the tanks has to go and become an abomination. It's a vehicle. And you have to run the vehicle, and you are absolutely critical to the management of the fight. If you don't, then then the raid will wipe, because you have to deal with the spots that are going out, and you have to use the debuffs, and you have to make sure you're hitting him with the stacks of the bleed, and all kinds of other stuff. It's all kinds of stuff. You have to manage like 3 or 4 things, all pretty much at the exact same time. It's very fun. I liked doing it a lot. I was very good at it. The raid lead's girlfriend was getting butthurt. She was a Death Knight. I was a warrior. Oh, I would manage several, Huthor. That was just the way, because I could keep on top of it. I figured out pretty quickly that the moment you hit the absorb happened, even though the graphic only happened a few seconds later. So I'd run over, grab, run over, grab, and run over, grab, and then, you know, they would shrink behind me kind of staggered. Anyways, so she was a Death Knight, and she was really butthurt that I was a better tank than her. I was on my warrior. And so she kept insisting that she be allowed to do the vehicle thing, because she'd never allowed to do the vehicle thing. So she's like, okay. So I offered to, you know, tell her some tips and tricks and how to do it. She told me to go suck a lemon. So I said, okay, fine. We wiped several times because she couldn't figure out how to do the vehicle section. And then the raid lead said, okay, Lore, you go ahead and tank that again. And then we one-shot it. Because of course we did. Because I knew what I was freaking doing. Oh yeah, being able to fill the tank instantly was pretty much mandatory for this, in my opinion.
Good news, everyone! I think I've perfected a plan that will destroy all life on Azeroth.
Bad news, everyone! I don't think I'm going to make it.
And there's our 2 oozes. Oh, who knows and who cares, Magister. I'm used to a lot of raid drama in my day, so that's just kind of its own thing. So that was the Plague Wing. Nice place. Let's get Frost out of the way, shall we? Let's do that next. can't even fight the first boss in Frost. It's a lot of fun, Hula. It's very demanding. Oh, I sorry, I did see that part, and I have no idea what's going on with Priest right now. Ah, prodded him, yeah. I mean, I guess we could first... Does first aid exist anymore? I'm not really joking.
Brothers, the Vrykul will protect the Frost Queen with their lives.
Even dying here beats spending another day collecting reagents for that madman Finkelstein.
Remember him? Remember him? I even pointed it out at the time.
Our champions have arrived. Support them as we push our way through the hall.
In fact, if you're paying attention, these are all 4 of the NPCs for the Patrol quest chain.
Fought beside me, Croc, but now you are nothing more than a traitor. Come, your second death approaches.
Actually, I did know that, Ventures.
Push forward!
Miserable creatures, die!
Quickly, push on!
It was a worthy afterlife. Please, please burn my remains. Let me live warm in the afterlife.
The reinforcements will arrive shortly. We must bring her down quickly.
Oh, that makes sense, though.
Foolish Croc. You brought my reinforcements with you. Arise, Argent champions, and serve the Lich King!
There's no escaping the Lich King's will. Prepare for an explosive encounter. What an explosive ending.
I'll draw our attacks. Return our brothers to their graves. Then help me bring...
What? They died so easily. Come, Scourgebane. I'll show the Master which of us is truly worthy of the title of champion. Perhaps you were right, Croc.
There's some interesting story implied here they never really do anything with. Between Croc and Svalna.
Inform Tyrion of our progress. You must press on and bring down Sindragosa. Loktar, champions!
The loss of our comrades was unpreventable. They lived and died in the service of the Argent Crusade.
What?
You have done much in this war against the Scourge. May the light embrace you.
They have dialogue if they live? When did they do that? Anyways, so yeah, there's some implied backstory between Croc and Svalna, which they don't actually do anything with. There's another thing I like about this that I also want to give credit to, which is when, oh, that might make sense, Hunters. There's another bit of thing I wanted to mention that's a positive here. When Varrock is showing up, and he starts talking to his son's like, dead puppies. And I like that Varrock completely no-sells him on that. Did you catch that? You know, Deathbringer's like, we will join hands and kill everything and do horrible things. And Varrock is just ignoring him as he's giving his speech. It's very Varrock, and I like it quite a bit. Anyways, I just realized we can actually do this fight, because we have a priest. I actually really like this fight, by the way. In fact, I wish we had more of these kind of heal fights. We had one in Pandaria, too. Hey, Ross. So this is all on you, Spartan. Go heal the boss. You got this.
Intruders have breached the inner sanctum.
Hasten the destruction of the Green Dragon. Leave only bones and sinew for the reanimation.
Heroes, lend me your aid. My strength is returning. Press on, heroes!
Yep. So there's 4 places where they pop out of. That's the rest of the raid's job. But the healers have to heal her. The fight ends when she hits full health. I don't have much else to add to this, honestly. It's just, I like the concept. And I honestly kind of wish they would do more with this concept. Like, we've got, what, 3 of these? So yeah, the Nightmare Portals, this was a whole thing. You went to here, you go into the Dream State, you fly around, you gather these things. These things give you a really big buff of Nightmares. Nightmares regenerates your mana and increases your healing done by a lot, but also makes you take dot damage. And yeah, as you can see, as I'm demonstrating right now, they're a little finicky in running into them. But that's pretty much how you do this fight. Is you get your healers all of those buffs, and then you heal her with the near infinite mana. Assuming you get your stacks. Also, the suppressors show up, they actually reduce the healing she takes. It's a fun fight, I like it. It's just a little finicky. This is yet another one of those, yeah, we've already wiped. This is yet another one of those, lacking in execution but good idea fights, of which there are quite a few.
Incoming.
And I'm just going to stand here. We usually had everyone who could heal switch to healer for this. Not counting our tanks, obviously. I usually didn't do healing on her because I was a druid. And those buffs they gave didn't really benefit druids as much as others. That was always kind of irritating. Could you please finish this off, by the way, Spartan? That was always kind of irritating to me. Because, I was much better at doing the dream and getting the stacks than anybody else was. But I was a druid. So my job was staying out here and keeping the entire rest of the raid alive. Keep healing the boss?
Incoming.
Like, she's not fully healed yet. That's all. There we go.
Is Sarah grant me the favor to lay these foul creatures to rest?
No, he's Shadow. Little Fairy. But yeah, no, I think I mentioned this. I had a Prot Warrior and I had a Resto Healer, a Druid. And both of them had their own 10-man and 25-man teams for Citadel. It's probably the most active rating-wise I've ever been. Let's see. Advice for Pot Warrior in BC. I don't know. I don't really remember the talents all that well. Don't. Oh no, and he's dead. Yeah, Elevator Boss. I guess the biggest piece of advice I would give you is make sure that you are crush capped, because that's going to be a thing in BC. Congrats, Spartan. And also to try and focus very hard on not getting hit at all.
You must not approach the Frost Queen. Quickly, stop them!
It's something that I don't think is even a mechanic anymore. I could be wrong. Yeah, go ahead, Uthor. It has actually been a long time since I've had to deal with Crush. Since BC, really. But I had to. I was a warrior tank for Black Temple. And Sunwell. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Crush is gone. At least, or at least I haven't seen it like in any meaningful fashion in a very long time at this point. So the next box is Syndragosa. I hated the achievement on this boss so much. So much. I have this achievement. There's Rhyme Fang, by the way, right over there. I didn't mind the fight, but I hated that achievement. Some idiot would always screw it up. Yep, enjoy this wonderful actress for the last time. This is the one she's most famous for in Wrath, which is funny. Considering how few people probably actually did the Syndragosa fight.
You are fools to have come to this place! The icy winds of Northrend will consume your souls!
That's her. So she has Frost Aura. And, she breathes, she has a tail swing, she likes to throw ice blocks on people,
Mortals,
which suffocates them.
magic betrays you!
And she does that. Screw you, Syndragosa. No, Adventures was correct. It's block, parry, and dodge. Crit resistance is a whole other thing. So, done with that. Let's go hit up Blood. She's a good actress. I've heard her do good stuff over the years. I have no idea what was going on in Wrath. As you can see, the glacier keeps going up there for a ways. So Blood is the Sand Lane, of course. Spartan got the pit. Nice. Oh, 3 levels higher. Yeah. You could break this and get this super-powered buff for 30 seconds. Everyone constantly fought each other over who got the buff. It's just like, yeah, woo! So there's the Blood Queen. But, you know, if you look up ahead there, you'll see something that looks like... that is Utgard Keep. That one in the middle is the Borean Tundra.
You thought us defeated so easily. The Sand Lane are the Lich King's immortal soldiers. Now, you shall face their might combined. Rise up, brothers, and destroy our enemies!
And on the right, you'll see Anka-Head.
Naxanar was merely a setback. With the power of the orb, Valenar will have his vengeance!
So, the way this works is they functionally only have... This is actually a really cool take on a council fight, if I could just talk about this for just a second. Because whoever the orb is the only one who can actually take damage at any given point in time, but they also get an empowered ability. So you have to move the damage around in order to deal with whoever has the orb. They only really have the one health pool, so you're functionally damaging the orb, not them. Each of them has completely different attacks and has to be dealt with in completely different ways. That's kind of it, but it's a fun fight.
My queen, they come.
My personal favorite is the guy who just hit like a truck, even though he's an elf. Yeah, those guys actually sucked in Heroic. But honestly, we always had a harder time with the upcoming boss fight. Managing bites was a thing, and I don't know why. Logically speaking, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, if I explained to you how the bites work, you'd be like, oh, okay. But back in the day, people just had issues with figuring out how the bite mechanic worked. So, you would become bit. Okay, cool. You get all sorts of stuff. However, if you don't... You'll have a timer. during which if it runs out, you become blood crazed. If you become blood crazed, then you become mind controlled. So you have to go ahead and use your bites carefully. So you'd go up to a player, and you have to find a player who is not bitten, and you have to bite them. Bite, just like that. You cannot bite someone who's already bitten. Then they go through the same cycle, and the bites just kind of spread throughout the fight the whole time. The caveat, the big thing that we kept screwing up on, and I don't really have a good answer for why, is that when you bite someone, they take damage. So the people doing the biting would have the worst possible timing. They would always try to bite too late. In other words, when they have very, very little time left, which meant that they would be frantically looking for anybody to bite, and they'd bite someone and then kill them because they didn't bite early, like I kept telling them to. And so they'd be like, oh, no, I need to bite anyone. Quick, quick. Oh, I killed you. Sorry, buddy. Anyways, managing bites was the whole mechanic here. It was a whole thing. Her aggro table was weird, and she has some extra ad things. There was the thing about the people have to gather together to get rid of the debuff. But ultimately, the bite was the... Whoa! Hello. The bite was the real mechanic. This is also the last... the third last, sorry, achievement we got for the mountain here.
You have made an unwise decision.
I hated tanking this.
But we were all getting along. So, well.
And for some reason, the chandelier falls. I'm not complaining, it means a shortcut back, but it's always been like, wait, why did that fall? Why did that... Okay, whatever. Alright. Let's do it. Nah, his dick froze off. Alright, so. In my opinion, this is the hardest heroic fight in the expansion. Which I suppose it should be. That's the second Lich King. This guy. This frickin' guy. Oh, man. Okay, so let me talk about this a little bit. You may or may not notice there's this line here. Do you see the sucker? And this line right here is very, very indicative. Out here is the frozen, frosty, whatever, like the chunks of ice. He will do a mechanic which will make this stuff fall at a certain point. However, he will also have another mechanic which will damage everything in here. So managing where you're positioning is a huge part of that. He also has an ability called Defile, which if you remember, I actually have a talent for, not on this spec, but I think on Holy spec. Defile would be how we'd usually lose this fight. I'm just going to be really honest about that, because here's how Defile works. It's a death and decay, but every time it does damage, it spreads. It gets bigger. And so you can already understand the problem, because if anybody screws up at all when it comes to Defile, then it goes bigger, which almost always grabs other people, which also then grabs other people, and eventually it's just covering the entire arena. And for the record, yes, Defile can cover the whole arena. So if anybody screws up on Defile, it was usually a wipe. First phase is really dull. The first phase is just getting in preparation for this. It's just a straight-up tank and spank. Then he starts channeling things right in the middle. He'll stand right up there in the middle, and he'll channel a huge storm, which just kills everything in the center of the area. So we all have to go out here. He'll start spanning a whole bunch of mobs. These mobs are fun. These mobs silence. These mobs have a lot of health, and these mobs do a lot of damage. You're on a timer for killing these jackasses. Once you successfully do, you have to run right back in because he's about to make all that ice fall right away. Then you want to reposition based on where you're going with this particular phase, the fight. There's also a thing he does where he eats you into the sword, and you have to fight your way out of the sword. Don't worry about that. Then occasionally in the second and I think fifth phases, I don't remember the numbers, he'll summon Valkyr, which will pick you up and very, very slowly carry you to the edge. If they drop you over the edge, try to be shocked, you will die. So the DPS needs to absolutely burn that Valkyr down as quickly as humanly possible before you go over to the edge. Otherwise, death will ensue. There were a couple of ways to pull a last-minute victory out of that if you were over the edge, if you were a warrior. And I believe that's actually it, because a warrior could hop back in Wrath before they nerfed it. We're not talking about the Serenite bomb strategy. No one talks about the Serenite bomb strategy. Sure, Spartan, you can tank. That's most of the major mechanics. He'll repeat himself. He'll be like, giant thing, AoE out, giant thing, and then AoE out. And each phase he adds a little bit of extra complexity, but there's a lot of moving parts, and all of them have to handle in pretty much the exact right way, or else you are freaking dead. At least on Heroic 25 version. He was still reasonably hard on 25 version. He was actually kind of easy on 10-man. It was kind of weird, honestly. It got to the point where it was considered an insult to use the title, which I don't have, but it's Kingslayer. I don't have that title available. Is it the Kingslayer? Ah, there it is, the Kingslayer. It was considered an insult by some people to wear the title the Kingslayer. It was so much of a joke that, and I'll point this out when we get there, that in Cataclysm there's actually an NPC who has the title the Kingslayer, and the joke is that he's a noob. Yeah. Anyways. Let's go and... So, yeah. Sorry. Let's talk about story, because we're about to give a whole bunch of story positives. We've already given a negative for the scene, so we don't have to cover that. So... At the very end, there's just the Lich King, Tyrion Fordring, and us. And that's it. This is the very, very, very end of the filter. This is the point at which no one else is left other than the strongest fighting force Azeroth has ever seen. That's the player characters. And Fordring. Everyone else has fallen to the wayside. Everyone else has died or been rotted or left behind.
So, the light's vaunted justice has finally arrived. Shall I lay down Frostborn and throw myself at your mercy for...
We'll grant you a swift death, Arthas. More than can be said for the thousands you've tortured and slain.
You'll learn of that firsthand. When my work is complete, you will beg for mercy, and I will deny you. Your anguished cries will be testament to my unbridled power.
So be it.
5,
Champions,
4,
attack!
3, 2, 1.
Keep you alive to witness the end, Fordring. I would not want the Light's greatest champion to miss seeing this wretched
4,
world
3,
remade
2, 1.
my image.
By the way, good luck for anybody who needs Invincible still. So he also does that. So Spartan is now dead.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I was actually wondering if anyone would get hit by that. Yep, there it goes. Now Spartan's dead. I'm gonna just pop him.
Four.
Carry me?
No questions remain unanswered. No doubts linger. You are Azeroth's greatest champions. You overcame every challenge I laid before you. My mightiest servants have fallen before your relentless onslaught. Your unbridled fury. Is it truly righteousness that drives you? I wonder. You trained them well, Fordring. You delivered the greatest fighting force this world has ever known. Right into my hands. Exactly as I intended. You shall be rewarded for your unwitting sacrifice. Watch now, as I raise them from the dead. become masters of the Scourge. They will shroud this world in chaos and destruction. Azeroth's fall will come at their hands, and you will be the first to die. I delight in the irony.
Light, grant me one final blessing. Give me the strength to shatter these bonds.
Frostborn is destroyed.
No more, Arthas! No more lives will be consumed by your hatred!
Free, at last. It is over, my son. This is the moment of reckoning. Rise up, champions of the light!
Now I stand alive.
That's a shame. That's the best line of the whole game, and it just interrupted it.
Father, is it over?
At long last. No king rules forever, my son.
I see. Only darkness before me.
Thanks, Uther.
Without its master's command, the restless Scourge will become an even greater threat to this world. Control must be maintained. There must always be a Lich King.
The weight of such a burden. It must be mine, for there is no other.
Tyrion! You hold a grim destiny in your hands, brother. But it is not your own.
Bolvar! By all that is holy.
The dragon's flame sealed my fate. The world of the living can no longer comfort me. Place the crown upon my head, Tyrion. Forevermore, I will be the jailer of the damned.
No, old friend. I cannot.
Do it, Tyrion! You and these brave heroes have your own destinies to fulfill. This last act of service is mine. I must be forgotten, Tyrion. If the world is to live free from the tyranny of fear, they must never know what was done here today.
Tell them only that the Lich King is dead, and that Bolvar Dragon died with him. Now, go. Leave this place and never return.
What a frickin' story. If you look up there, by the way, the third Lich King is now sitting on the throne. You're ridiculous, Uthor. So, obviously, final battle, the filter, yes, plus. The cutscene, Arthas' death, Tyrion's near mistake of picking up the crown, yes. But that final moment deserves its own positive by itself. That final moment of, tell them only that the Lich King is dead, and in mid-sentence, his voice shifts to that of the Lich King, and that Bolvar Fordragon died with him. Go now, and do not return. Bam! And for the longest time, a handful of people the world over knew of the truth. Like, there's us, there's Tyrion, and I think that's actually it. I think that's the list. Oh, and everyone who hit the monument in the middle of Dalaran, obviously. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That is such an awesome moment. Now, Huthor says negative for the there must always be a Lich King thing. You probably weren't listening, and I don't blame you. No reason to listen to me. But I actually already gave that negative. Because I knew that negative would be coming. Because, of course, I did. Come on. No, that's our new status quo. The Scourge are functionally removed from the table as a polity and a power. And the second Lich King is as gone as it is possible to be at the moment. And later will be gone even more. How is the sword broken? So this thing on his back is called Ashbringer. It is an artifact level weapon. That is the core of a Naru forged into a sword, which itself has been used on countless undead over the years. So, Fordring smashed into, not after Arthas, not the Lich King, I should say, but he specifically targeted Frostmourne. Notice he didn't actually fully destroy Frostmourne, its shards are still there. He just broke it enough to release all the people in it. And, very likely, that's the exact moment at which Arthas' soul was returned to him, since Arthas' soul was, by all accounts, in the sword. This also leads to what I consider to be one of the best lines in this entire expansion. And now I stand, the lion before the lambs, and they do not fear. They cannot fear. That is such an awesome line. And in my mind, that line was always being spoken by Arthas. By someone who has realized, to some extent or another, the full extent of his plans and the full realization of the filter. The biggest reason why I've always said that Arthas was involved in helping to manipulate the second Lich King into making all these events happen is because of that line and because of his assistance during the Ice Crown quest. So, that's always been my interpretation of that one. So, we're done, right? We got a little bit of cleanup to do before we can actually call this done. Where the hell am I? Here we go. So let's clean up a little bit, shall we? Yeah, we're gonna go to the Borean Tundra. Hang on. God, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? That is a good question, Trahexia, which we will never know, but the most likely answer would be Revendreth. The game itself makes it fairly clear that Death Knight Arthas and Arthas are two separate people. How much of Arthas and Death Knight Arthas is in the second Lich King, that's a little bit more debatable. Whoops, this is the wrong Dalaran. Hang on. Hang on, I'm in the wrong Dalaran. Hang on. Well, the rule of the afterlife is extremely simple. There's a bot, a non-sentient robot, which as your soul goes through, it's like, let's see. You go here, and it sorts you to where you're going to go. No, Mr. Floyd Pinkerton, I've decided as of this exact moment, and purely to spite you, to not do it. Okay, hi, Ronan. What's going on? Listen, I've got this reply code Alpha.
We received Brand's message, and we have begun preparations.
Just in time. Let's see this thing off, then.
Revendreth's job is to provide people an opportunity to redeem themselves, and it also serves as a fuel source of anima for the rest of the afterlife. Arthas still did bad things. His soul wasn't completely innocent. Remember, and think of this from this perspective, even if I am correct, which, for the record, I am, everything that Arthas did up to picking up Frostmourne was him, no external influence, at least none worthy of note. So he still made all of those choices. He still culled Stratholme. He still killed his own people.
Raise your eyes to the skies and observe. Today our world's destruction has been averted in defiance of our very makers. Algalon, the Observer, Herald of the Titans, has been defeated by our brave comrades in the depths of the Titan city of Ulduar. Algalon was sent here to judge the fate of our world. He found a planet whose races had deviated from the Titans' blueprints. A planet where not everything had gone according to plan. Cold logic deemed our world not worth saving. Cold logic, however, does not account for the power of free will. It's up to each of us to prove this is a world worth saving. That our lives are worth living.
And so we send reply code Alpha, which deactivates the reorigination device. We'll see that again next expansion. And yeah, interestingly enough, that speech is actually more relevant now, arguably, than it was then, even after the retcons. I like that speech, memes aside. You know, I actually have no idea, Lord Aramon. Alright, let's go to the Borean Tundra. We're just going to run through these really quick, to be quite honest with you. But there's two raids we haven't done yet, and we haven't done them very much on purpose. And that's because they don't really have anything to do with Wrath. They're there as a lead-up to Cataclysm. Wrath was one of the very first times they started thinking about the next expansion in the existing expansion. This is a trend they will continue to now. Like, they've never stopped doing this to some extent or another. It's just how much effort and time has been spent on setting up the next expansion, right? So, the Lich King, the second Lich King, is not actually the final boss of Wrath. Hang on, I gotta remember which one of these is which. Okay, it's that one. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. But the last boss of Kata has its own thing going on. But the last boss of Pandaria definitely leads into Warlords. The last boss of Warlords leads into Legion. The last boss of Legion kind of cuts it off, but then the last boss of BFA definitely leads into Shadowlands and so on. It's this whole thing. So, let's talk about Sartharion briefly here. Sartharion is the Onyx Guardian. He's over there guarding this clutch of eggs because black dragons are evil and blah, blah, blah. He has 3 drakes that are with him. And, actually, yeah, I looked at all. And each of these drakes serve a purpose of, you know, buffing the boss. So you can kill them 1 or 2 or 3, depending on how... You're right, the BFA doesn't lead in Shadowlands. You can kill them 1 or 2 or 3. And depending on how you kill them, will determine how hard the boss is and what mechanics he has. Or you could be absolutely insane, and this is a mechanic even all the way back when this was immediate, like even when this was still new. And the mechanic was burn absolutely every cooldown you have, completely min-max your damage, and kill him, and then have all the trash swarm you, and then you die, but you just accomplished a 3 Drake, which you can do like this.
It is my charge to walk towards the gates, and I will see you purge before any harm comes.
So, like, imagine we just killed him, and then this happens, and it's like, oh god, and then we just melt, and then we just completely melt. That was the strategy. It worked. If there's anything I want out of this guy. Sartharion was a good experiment, though. He was also an interesting thing in player feedback for Blizzard. Because he was... The way I just described killing him was definitely not intentional. And the developers had to decide if they were going to nerf that or not. They decided not to. They even did a post about this, saying, even though that's not the intended way to defeat the boss, we've decided to go ahead and allow it. We're just going to let it be. Because it's creative and it's interesting, and it's still kind of hard to pull off. So, you win, players. I was kind of liked that. In the world. Right. Sorry, give me 1 second here. And yeah, the last boss of Shadowlands... So, sorry, I should clarify my subject, because I'm speaking too vaguely, because I'm kind of in a hurry, and I apologize. As Ghost of Snow has already called me out on. The last boss of Shadowlands was clearly intended to lead into something. And didn't. So this is Halion. Frickin' Halion. Halion is actually the last boss of Wrath, and this is 100% a lead-in to Cataclysm. Bunch of black dragonflights, and they've attacked the Ruby Sanctum, aka the Red Dragon Shrine. Oh my god, the black dragons are evil. This is my shock face. We're just gonna run through here. Anything up? Yeah, no kidding, Uthor. Couple of mini bosses. There's like 3, I want to say. Yeah, three mini bosses here.
For this intrusion.
Come on, there we go. Come on. Come on, here. Come here. So this was kind of a fun fight, admittedly. It had what we call a top side and a bottom side.
I am trapped within this tree. I require aid.
If you've been paying attention, I've actually talked about a couple of boss fights we've already had.
The entertainment has arrived.
Which were top side, bottom side type fights where you had to manage both teams simultaneously. And that's cool in its own right. But like, I hated this fight. I don't even have a really good way to put why. I mean, I could talk about how I did this fight for like a solid year and a half.
Thank you. I could not have held out for much longer. A terrible thing has happened here.
Look, War Within is a very, very, very good expansion, Talia. But I know money's tight for you, so I'd hold out. You got tons of content you can do until then.
But we were not prepared for the nature of this assault. The Black Dragon King materialized from thin air and set upon us before we could react. We did not stand a chance. As my brethren perished around me, I managed to retreat here and bar the entrance. They slaughtered us with cold efficiency. But the true focus of their interest seemed to be the eggs kept here in the sanctum. The commander of the forces on the ground here is a cruel brute named Zerithrian. But I fear there are greater powers at work. In their initial assault, I caught a glimpse of their true leader, a fearsome, full-grown Twilight Dragon.
What?
I know not the extent of their plans, heroes, but I know this. They cannot be allowed to succeed.
I know what you're thinking. What the hell is a Twilight Dragon? I'm going to cover the Twilight Dragons in more detail later, but this was our first real exposure to Twilight Dragons in-game. They were already in a book prior to this. I don't remember which one, don't ask me. I don't actually remember as Miristar. Anyways, so we'd already had the Black Dragons, then we had the Nether Dragons. And the Nether Dragons were being experimented on by the Black Dragons. All the way back in BC, there are 2 quests that indicate that, including the entire chain I mentioned that we didn't actually do because it's a daily chain. So, you know, that's cool that they decided to go ahead and have a major MSQ plot thread in a daily chain, but whatever. Yeah, there's also Nefarian's experiments back in vanilla to try and make a chromatic flight. So the chromatic flight, the nether flight, the black flight, and then what's happening, all of this here, all of that was all a part of trying to build up a twilight flight.
Alexstrasza has chosen capable allies. A pity that I must end you.
Burns the trees on his way in.
Some insects. You're too late. The Ruby Sanctum is lost.
That is a Twilight Dragon. The first Twilight Dragon. But not the last. You're thinking of the Infinites, Venters.
Your world teeters on the brink of annihilation. You will all bear witness to the coming of a new age of destruction.
Phase 2.
You will find only suffering within the realm of Twilight.
Phase
I
3.
am the light and the darkness. Cower, mortals, before the... Relish this victory, mortals, for it will be your last. This world will burn with the Master's return.
I'm gonna skin him really quick there. Just to be insulting. But if you missed that, he flat out says, I know the dialogue overrode it, so it's its fault, but cower mortals before the Herald of Deathwing. And that was the final boss of Wrath of the Lich King. And let's see, how long was that? Hang on, let's pull this image up again. We keep pulling this image up. Let's see. So that was 364 days of just Halion and nothing else to do once we'd finished all our achievements in Wrath. What's funny is that's not even the worst content drought we ever had, but man, that was a content drought, let me tell you. Holy crap. There's a reason I got sick of the Halion fight. However, I agree with him as Miristar, and I suppose technically myself, because I'm the one who said it. In my honest opinion, what we just saw was the end of the classic era. From now on, we're entering Modern WoW. The beginnings of Modern WoW. Kata still is pretty rough, as Talia can attest to. It still has some issues and problems here and there. And there's definitely some rough edges. But going forward, we're going to enter the era of what is truly Modern WoW, for good and for bad. Zar needs to repeat a question about Kata, because if Zar does not repeat that question, then Zar will be gifted eternal life. Kata felt really really good at the time. I don't think it's going to score that well, all things considered. Like, I don't think it's going to knock it out of the park in terms of score. However, going straight from Wrath to Kata was a sea change. We do. We have the ability to actually play Kata. Let's grab a shot of like that. That seems like a good thing to shot. Oh, man. Kata. It was also the first expansion I played by myself, but I'll talk all about all that tomorrow. We'll leave all the Kata stuff for tomorrow. Let's do the audit, shall we? Three days, Pillars of Snow. The platinum number for WoW will be calculated at the very end, Czar. We do bronze numbers for individual expansions, mostly just for fun. Yeah, because MMOs are a little bit different than everything else, and for good reason. You know, Riker's Beard, I just wanted to say thank you for, like, focusing Huthor's attention on you so I could focus on the audit. I appreciate you tanking for me, buddy. Don't worry, I'll taunt off you in a minute. Let's see. There we go. No, I actually agree with Rain 36, weirdly enough. I loved the rework of Kata, the way that the questing worked, and I could say that because I made a goblin, I made a worgen. The worgen was a rogue, the goblin was a shaman. And I just did all of it. I did all of the new Eastern Kingdom stuff and all of the new Kalimdor stuff. I loved it. I fell in love with it. But like, no, throw it up. Knock back to death. Anyways. They really did use it a lot in Classic. Or Vanilla, rather. Anyways. But I don't blame players for being like, ugh. Especially given that we had just had several years of vanilla tanking. Or vanilla tanking. Vanilla leveling. And trust me, vanilla leveling kind of sucked. Don't mistake me. I'm not trying to say vanilla sucked. That's a separate statement. What I'm trying to say is, when you wanted to level a new person, because you needed a new role or a new class, you wanted to try out something new in Wrath, you had to go through vanilla again. And BC. We got really good at following very specific paths through both to minimize the time spent leveling, because I know this sounds funny from a modern perspective, but back in the day, leveling in WoW was a thing, right? Okay. So imagine, like, alright, new content. All that leveling stuff you've been doing for years. No, it's revamped. It's revamped. And it is. That's the funny thing. It really is. And it really is, in my opinion, muchly improved. But here we are. Oh yeah, also we could fly. That was nice. But God, people complained so hard about Kata that they never did it again. And honestly, I think that's the thing I dislike most about Kata, is the fact that they walked away from that concept forever. Okay, so this is Icecrown. Yeah, being able to fly around Orgrimmar or Stormwind, like, that was a huge revamp. They had to redo huge swaths of the territory just to make it possible. We'll talk about Sylvanas when we get there. It'll be a minute. Well, in the interests of fairness, the problem was at the time, there was no Classic. If people wanted to go back to vanilla, there was no option. And nowadays that doesn't apply, obviously. The audit. That's... But I've given my opinion on this 7,000 times. I have nothing new to add to the situation. I'm just gonna keep doing the boring audit. Don't worry, I've done most of the boring audit. I did it this morning. So we should be able to catch up pretty quickly. We do have one very, 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 very last thing to review, but it won't take long. Classic leveling is not difficult at all. It's actually pretty brain dead. It is, however, very slow. And I don't just mean slow as in terms of, like, killing speed. What is the biggest penalty for failure in vanilla leveling? I bet even if you've never played vanilla, you can tell me just based on the way I structured that sentence. Exactly. Time. You lose the time. You gotta go all the way back. And you gotta get back to where you were and get your corpse up. Probably get some repair bills, which of course takes more time. The whole thing. I mean, that's what people wanted out of EverQuest. They just wanted a fancy chat program. And I don't mean that as a negative. I know it sounds like I'm saying that derisively. That's just because I have a massive headache right now, so forgive me. But I don't mean it as one. People wanted a really nice chat program. They wanted something to just fly around dollar. Like, how many people did you know personally who would just pick a spot and roam around there while they chat with their friends in WoW? I know people like that. I raised my hand on that. Whoops. Hang on. Sorry, screwing things up. Screwing things up. Why am I so stupid? I mostly got tired of the her pandas thing because of a concept which I have to actually describe. I need to just come up with a term for it at some point so I can just refer to that henceforth. It's the typical insult, or the typical comment, or the repeated comment, or the osmosis comment, or something. I need to come up with a term for it. That's the whole point here. Yeah, let me write this down so I don't lose my place here. 6... and then 2 cutscene, and then 1 external. And 2 cutscene. It's when someone, it's when there's a specific point, right? You've encountered this even if you haven't realized this. It's when a specific point happens, or a specific point is used either positively or negatively towards something. And then everyone else just kind of slowly repeats that point, even if they don't actually agree with it. I know that sounds strange to put it that way, but what I mean is that a whole bunch of people will be like, oh, such and such. Doesn't matter what it is. Again, positives or negatives. Everyone repeats the same point over and over. Well, at least it's such and such. Or, oh yeah, it's the thing where the whatcha-fig is, you know? And people will just repeat that common point over and over and over and over because it osmoses into culture. And we all, I do this too. I actually have to check myself on this because I find myself sometimes just repeating something that I've essentially heard rather than something I actually think. And I can tell you quite a few times I've actually looked into the thing and said, oh, the thing I was repeating all this time wasn't actually true, huh? I've seen that for movies, I've seen that for games, I've seen that for books, I've seen that for politicians, I've seen that for nations, I've seen that for points in history. There's like, you know what I'm saying? If someone says something and the first thing that pops in your mind is the most memorable thing about it, which is probably something that has memetically spread in the truest sense of what a meme actually is. Oh, a lot of people bowed out in Cataclysm. In fact, as I will mention, every single person I knew quit in Cata. All of them. I suppose the only exception there would be me. Which is funny. I'll describe that when we get there. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Oh, speaking of which, as a reminder, tomorrow is patch day, so I will not be streaming until the patch comes up, one way or the other. And yeah, it is memetic. It is literally memetic. I feel silly saying that because nowadays the word meme is just shorthand for the word joke. Like, when we say memes, what we're saying is jokes. It's just for the jokes, or it's just for the laughs, or something like that. But memes are a concept regardless of that, and have been for quite a while. Should stream it. No, normally I would stream about another hour-ish. I'm hurrying as fast as I can, Master. God, so patient. Okay. That's the boring audit done. So let's do one last thing. Let us look. Wrong screen. Let's look at class armor, shall we? So obviously Demon Hunters didn't exist back then. Evokers didn't exist back then. Monks didn't exist back then. But you know what did exist? Death Knights. So I can, like... Let's get rid of that. There we go. Much better. So let's see. Okay, so here was the Noxoramus Death Knight plate. It's pretty bad, I'd say. Some people say it looks better on orcs. Those people are wrong, obviously. It's not the ugliest suit in the game, but it's definitely up there, right? Like, when you think of ugly suits, this is one of the first ones you think of. Ulduar's suit, God, I know that this is literally just Mogreen's suit, but I don't really care for this one either. Because this one's just whatever. And that weird skull thing is just, it doesn't work. Now, Trial of the Crusader had just generic gear, so we're not going to count that. So that just leaves Citadel. And once again, I'm not a fan of this. What the hell was going on with this? Like, it's just weird. This whole suit. So, no joy for Death Knights. Next. We also had Druids. Let's see here. Noxoramus. So here's Tier 3. Yep, it's still a vanilla suit. I was never a big fan of the Tier 3 stuff, so it's just whatever. By the way, this actually looked terrible on a Tauren. And I mentioned that because back then, only 2 races could be Druid, and one of them was Tauren. So 50% of your players who got Tier 3 Druid looked terrible. That's okay, though. It's okay. Because now we have well, that's... I mean, it's okay, I guess. It's okay, because then we have Oh. What is going on with this? Like, this is Ice Crown Citadel Druid gear. I had this whole suit on my Tauren. And trust me, it actually looks worse on a Tauren. Hello. How are you? Ugh. What, headpiece? Okay, I will actually give you the headpiece. I've used this headpiece on several bits of cosmetic over the years, because... Yeah, no, that's legit. It's just the crescent moon. It's just the crescent. That's all it is. Okay, so Druid, no joy. Let's go up to Warlock. So, here's Tier 3. As with all the Tier 3s, it's just kind of there, honestly. Move immediately on to Ulduar. I don't know why they decided to have Putris's outfit be the Warlock Ulduar suit. However, call me a weirdo, and I kind of liked this. Like, the jagged chunks of what are probably bone coming out of both the face and the shoulders. It's alright, you know? I don't like that gigantic metal collar in the back. And obviously there's kind of the crow motif going on, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm kind of with it. Well, it's, on brand, I guess? I don't know what to say about this suit. By the way, you're probably noticing a trend. Ice Crown Citadel was when they invented the big belts. You see those things? The relevance here is that the big belts actually have a mesh. Prior to this, all the belts, they're just a texture. Like, you see that right there? Do you see the belt? it's literally just painted onto the body. But when we got to Citadel, we started having meshes for it. And this will be a trend going forwards. So, in other words, pretty much all the belts have this giant, bulky thing. And in some cases, it works better than others. This is a little bit more warlocky, but still, eh. So, now we go up to Mage. Let's see. So, of course, we have... trying to be frosty. It's oh god. Oh god. Okay, moving on. Now, okay, call me a weirdo. I actually like tier 8 mage. It's kind of non-standard. It looks like armor, and I think that's part of what I like about it. Now, the biggest problem with it is that its boots are kind of terrible. And you can tell because they don't exist. But, yeah, I kind of like this. Like, it looks like it's got some kind of actual stylings to it, and of course the face is completely concealed, which I'm with it. I like that, so, okay. And then, of course, oh, God. What is it with Citadel and having terrible armor? What is going on with this? What is going on with this? And even the shoulders are, like, misshapen. Like, they're odd and bulbous, you know? And, of course, giant belt. Gotta have the giant belt. Yeah, it's like trying to be a San Lane suit, but it's just... this color's a little bit better, I guess. So that's no joy for the mages either. Next, shamans. Okay, yeah, alright, so... Tier 3 shaman. Yep, that's Tier 3 shaman. Moving on. Okay. Going against the grain here. I actually really like Tier 8 shaman. In fact, those shoulders are part of my current transmog on my shaman. So, I'm not a huge fan of the helmet, but I can live with it. And again, those shoulders, oh, that's awesome. I love it, I love it. And the chains motif, kind of like the earthy, dirty tones. Yep, I like it. What is this nonsense? Like, it's like someone ripped apart a bunch of animal pieces, and they're like, oh, shoot. We forgot to write down where they came from, and so they just kind of glued them back together in random orders. So there's just bones periodically. So we're going to go ahead and say no joy for shamans. Priests. There's our tier 3. It's still tier 3. I'm not impressed with, like, any of the tier 3s, by the way. Tier 8. Okay. I like tier 8 priest. I'm going to admit it. I like the way that they do the cowl, I don't know what you call that. The thing preventing the lower face from being seen. I like the shoulders. I like how they're crystalline, and then underneath that, they've got this, like, glowing thing. That's cool. I like the robe. I like the colors. I like it. I like tier 8. Hell yes. So naturally, oh god, it's horrible. It's horrible. Get it off my screen. Get off my screen. Get off my screen. It's okay, because we'll just get... That's a little better, I guess. I don't know. Does that even count as better? I'm having a whole lot of one and dones here. So, what did we learn about helping people go to sleep? That's right, you remembered. High five. All right, now I have to finish up, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to be up much later. Infinitely later. Tickles. Wait, you can't conquer my bed. No, not my bed now! So Priest is a no-joy again. Let's show off Hunter. Let's just get Hunter out of the way. So here's Hunter. I think it was going for like a bug look. I guess it succeeds. I don't know what's going on with tier 8 Hunter. It's like... So this is Hunter. It's actually probably one of the better Hunter suits, which says something. Because then we go to this nonsense. Now... Oh. I'll be up later. This... I get what they were going for, but, like, that is not how you make a beetle-looking suit, you know? What is going on with the eyes? And the shoulders being way too close and angled too wrong. Just, what in the world? Tier 9 male... I mean, it's not terrible, I guess. You notice I've been skipping over Tier 9, because it's actually just armor type. So, Paladin, speaking of. Alright, let's see the glorious Tier 3... Oh my god, it's a Power Ranger. It is just straight up Power Rangers. Okay, so let's go to Tier 8. Okay. I actually like this one, but I've always liked the normal, the 10-man version, better. Although there's one thing I don't like about it, and it's kind of hard to tell on me because I'm a demon hunter, but my belly is exposed in this plate armor suit. And I'm not trying to be like, oh my god, sexy's not allowed. It's more like it looks bad here. Like it ruins the look. Why is that a thing? It's okay, because then we have, what is this nonsense? Why do we have, like, flaming skulls on our shoulders? Why do we have a flaming skull on our helmet? Why is this the Paladin suit? What is going on with this? Okay, so no joy there. Let's go back to Rogue. Okay. So, here's the deal with this suit. First of all, the screaming skulls on the shoulders are a bit much. But the helmet is... I don't know what to say about the helmet, honestly. I really don't. There's just this helmet of weird. I like the shoulders, like claw, stabby things that pop out, but what in the world? It's okay, because surely... What? Okay, so here's our Citadel suit. It's a Geist. It's based off of Geists. So we have a Geist helmet, you know, the corpse bag thing with the one dot, and just random pieces of guck coming out of it like we're falling apart. Literally chunks of it. Like you can see easier. All the purple and red, that's my skin underneath, so you can see how it's like falling apart down here and up here. Yep. Okay. That just leaves Warrior. Surely Warrior's going to be a bastion of quality, right? So first we have Dreadnought. I'm going to go against the grain here. I actually rather like Dreadnought. Don't at me. It still has the stomach exposure problem, but at least it's something. Ulduar is gross at best. Like, I don't even know what they were thinking with this. It's just, I don't even know. It's like we're Goat Man. We have turned into Goat Man. Cool. Well, that's okay, because surely Citadel will be good. And that's because it is. Check it out. There's only one thing I don't like about this suit, and that's, as usual, it's the freaking exposed stomach. But if I just do that, there we go. I rather like this suit. In fact, pieces of this suit have made their way into some of my transmogs, even as recent as modern day. So, I'm actually kind of down with the Ymjar's Lord's outfit. Yeah, it's Vrykul inspired and actually does a decent job of it. So, not a lot of great stuff, but I'm willing to give a positive. A Warrior. And nothing else. Yeah. I know this is going to sound weird, but I think BC had way better set design than Wrath. That's why I kept kind of making that joke of, this is okay, whoa! Oh, this is okay, whoa! Oh, what's this? Oh my god! Alright, so. Let's see what we've got, shall we? Okay, you're probably tired of this amazing, amazing song. Where else could I go? Where could I go to force you to experience the unmitigated hell that is terrible, terrible music? I've got it. We'll just point this way. Alright, audit. So now we do the non-boring audit. Let's just do it. Wait, I already did this. I already did this. Yeah, I did. Okay, so we're actually done. Hey! So let's just do the golden number calculation. Do it, Ross. Ask quick. I'm already late for dinner. No, you stupid piece of crap. Not you, Ross. Alright, let's write down some numbers. There we go. Best song in the game. Yeah! Nice peek there. Favorite example of a multiverse in fiction. One in which it's not a multiverse at all. Where there's no real connection between them in any way, shape, or form. And instead it's not actually a multiverse, it's just different takes on the same thing. Elseworlds is what that's usually referred to as. Well, it was this or Ice Crown, Huthor. Those are the two closest things. I don't know what you want from me. 148. 47. Let me double check that. Make sure I already got rid of that, which I did. Excellent. And then 34. And 88. Oof. Okay. Okay. I also need to grab the time, which is 3:28. Alright, let's see how long Wrath was, first and foremost. As expected, BC is shorter than Wrath by 2 hours. That's actually longer than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. I blame the Borean Tundra. Yeah, imagine if we had actually gone through Ice Crown while still synced. Would have been longer. That's for a weird thought. Looks like the story score might actually drag the score up to net positive here. I'm gonna laugh if it's like, and now, raise your eyes, citizens of Dollar, and like, while I'm sitting here. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King, 101 pluses to story. That puts it along the level of above Heavensward and above Shadowbringer. That's 1.51 pluses per hour at a ratio of 75.9%. Gameplay is negative 54 to gameplay, which puts it as worse than ARR. That is 0.81 negatives per hour and a ratio of 27%. None of those stats are any good. However, BC got a net negative 296. Wrath gets a net golden number, bronze number of, if I could get a drum roll, please. Did I say Shadowburners? No, it doesn't matter. So I meant Stormblood. a net bronze number of 88.19. Honestly, that's not terrible, but that's also way lower than that really should be. And it looks like that's going to go to Just Rob TV, who guessed 86. Congrats, Just Rob TV. That is definitely better than I expected. Okay. So tomorrow, at some point, whenever the servers come back up, we'll go ahead and start up Cataclysm. What brought the score down the most, in my opinion? The abandonment. But other than that, it would be the questing. It's the biggest thing I don't like about classic gaming in WoW. It's the questing. Tomorrow we start Cata. We'll see how the questing can hopefully improve. See you guys.